Alright, we are live.
Welcome to session 2 of our Sea Dogs GURPS campaign. I am Gigermann, today's GM. God help us all. Do we have any business to conduct?
I'm just continuing work on the point expenditure in guns pistol, and I'll also look at taking a point out of something else to add it into axe mace.
Did anybody have any grace period adjustments to make that I should be made aware of?
Yes. Offhand weapon training pistol.
Alright.
That way I can fire with the offhand. It still is on my sword. But...
Seem reasonable.
I retroactively picked up accounting because Article took all those weird classes at university.
I made a new token for Davino. I'll probably get around to everybody else. He just happened to be the easiest.
Yeah, pretty darn nice,
Mark
if I may
do
say.
his own.
Okay. The loot that you guys picked up last week, I put in the party sheet. And if somebody was actually taking something, go ahead and notate that. Which one did you take?
Light Dragoon.
Damn it! Just remembered I didn't update this stupid rule set because I was waiting for Brian because he was supposed to release a new version.
I dragged that and the powder horn to inventory, and they're showing as unidentified item for me.
Well, the ones on the party sheet are identified. Let's see what you have.
So if you, in the party sheet, if you open them up and go to the infos, it shows as identified.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, no, I remember what this was. This had to do with that other name, that other ID. Which means I probably need to go through all those items and make sure they have one. What were you doing to the rule set this week?
There's the stuff that was done by Jaxlon, which includes dragging and dropping weapons from the items onto the character sheet will automatically populate the various combat tabs, and it'll do that with respect to strength for weapons and such.
Right.
Also, when you in the inventory, when you equip and unequip, it'll remove it from the combat tab or hide it.
So it's just his stuff that you've incorporated?
No, there's some stuff done to the combat tracker, some code optimizations. There's also the done in encumbrance, so it automatically calculates your encumbrance level. And then there's also the drag and drop skills and advantages and stuff like that onto the character sheet. So we can build a library of all GURPS skills. So if you need a skill, you can just drag it to the character sheet from a library.
Well, that'll be an interesting day.
And there's a couple of minor fixes as well, I think.
So nobody else is pulling anything out of the loot?
Is it normal to carry 2 pistols?
Oh, it's normal to carry 4 or 5.
Now you know he's going to start calculating whether he can afford that weight. Yeah, surely you've seen that. You've seen that in movies, haven't you, Mark? Where it's like,
Yeah.
the dude shoots and drops it and draws the next couple.
Yeah, Blackbeard was well known for carrying a whole brace of them.
Gar.
Alright, so
And he had a black beard.
Alright, I'll take one of the other dragoons. Light, I think, is what I have.
Okay, so if you pull it off there, is it actually updating?
No, I haven't pulled it up there yet. Well, it tells everyone I did it.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay.
But it
Excellent.
shows as unidentified.
Because it would. Apparently I'm going to have to go in there and fix that every bloody time. Until, you know, I sort out the items. Speaking of which...
Could you sort out, fix the Dragoon heavy pistol, because I'm going to equip that one.
Okay, let me see.
You just want to make sure that
it... Oh wait, I gotta unlock it, that's what I gotta do. Okay, so what did we have to do in the non-ID name? You just had to have something in it?
actually, so the non-ID name, you would just put, heavy pistol. So you wouldn't give it any specific description. So if it was say a magical sword, +1 magical sword, so that would be the full description, +1 magical sword, whereas the non-ID description would be sword.
Okay, well I've added that to the heavy, so go ahead and pull that and see what happens.
No, it didn't work.
Okay.
What did you call
Nope.
it? Okay, I've got
Well,
a name. Yes. So
well, I just fixed it.
What was it?
It didn't come across as identified.
User joined your channel.
And you have the identified status thing in the info was checked. It was green.
It was not.
When you open it up in the party sheet, though.
Yeah, the party sheets, they're all green.
Okay, so that'd be a bug then.
Maybe? Because none of the ones on the party sheet have the non-ID name. With the exception of the one you just pulled.
But I didn't see if that came across as being unidentified.
But yeah, so for whatever reason it didn't. Oh, I guess Carrie's coming in.
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, we haven't
Sorry about
officially
that.
started yet.
Sweet.
We're still doing bookkeeping. Hurry your ass up.
Yep.
Okay, so is anybody else pulling anything? Except for Claude, because Claude wasn't there. Hello, Ash. Oh, speaking of Ash, I need a secret roll from you in the box.
Okay.
I've already got one for article, and that was 2D. No, wait. That was a test fire. My brain is catching up. Right, I was in the process of saying I added a whole bunch of pistols and other weapons to the items, specifically pulling from 3rd edition. So, that is to say that the items that I have here in Fantasy Grounds, there are more options than there are in the 4th edition books.
Cool.
And I also went through and made it more plain what kind of lock they have. Well, Gary, you missed that we were. I had added the loot to the party sheet, so if you wanted to pull something out of that pile, you can.
Ah, okay, thanks.
Let's see, don't need enemies, so that is all of those.
Is it wrong of
And-
me that I kind of want one of these light dragoons in real life?
Well, I don't know what you do with it.
I want to take it to H&H.
That would be interesting. I wonder if
I'm
what
here
they,
to shoot this. Yeah,
would they have
no
a problem
sense.
with that?
If it's an indoor range, they may not allow black powder.
That's
Yeah,
what
I don't know.
I suspect.
No, one of our Friday group has a it's a black powder rifle. I think it's percussion cap.
All right. Well, we have to
I
go
think
send
that's,
Davino swimming.
Yeah, I think that's all the bookkeeping, so we're about ready to get on with it.
Big hellos to Captain Button and Bruno who have joined us in the chat.
Hello,
Hey, guys.
hello.
Hey guys.
And weren't you going to single out somebody last week, Brian? You mentioned somebody who had just recently subscribed.
I think that was Ezra.
Ezra Vask.
Yeah, I think he popped in on the GURPS boards later too. I'm betting that's the same guy.
Cool. Welcome, everybody. Now we need to go see Davino drown, because it'll be terrible.
So if everybody's pulled what they're pulling out of the loot, then everything else was going to be left behind, as I recall.
Ship's locker.
So you
I think
were
we
actually
going
going to take everything?
Take as much as we could.
Yeah, I mean, there's some use for it all. Got to equip our NPCs.
Okay, so then I will leave those there. Guess I need to identify something else.
Don't do that yet.
Don't do that yet?
Don't do what yet?
Okay, identify it.
Damn it. I wasn't doing that yet.
So there's one Dragoon pistol left?
Was it?
There. It looks like
Yes,
there's one light
light.
one, yeah. And there's the
Okay.
Queen Anne pistol. What's this not?
I will stang the Dragoon one.
The Snap-Ons is an older version of the flintlock. It's
Gotcha.
the pistol itself is a bit longer barreled and different caliber, so slightly different performance. But
Whatever.
other than that, it's basically just works like a flintlock.
It's fine.
Daniel, the backsword in items, it should be the top of the list. Is it identified?
Okay, so they are all showing as identified, but none of them have the non-ID name. So I'm going to change that on the backsword. Maybe I should
Change it.
reshare it when I do that.
Change it to something that's not backsword. So make sure the non-ID name is different from the ID name.
Well, what the hell do I make them?
So just call it backsword test.
Okay, and I think I'm going to unshare and reshare it just to be safe. That may be what was wrong with the other one.
And the little ID status flag is shown as ID'd.
Yes.
Okay, that worked.
So what did you do?
I didn't do anything. I just dragged it onto my inventory.
So you did something. Okay, but when you dragged it over, it was ID'd.
Yes.
Okay.
So I just dragged the bandolier, and
Yeah,
it is
none of
not
them.
ID'd.
Yeah, none of them are going to be like that.
Could you do what you did for the backsword for the belt hook?
Damn it. Oh, you deleted that item. Let me see. That was under accessories.
It's the third one in the list if you open up items.
Okay, this time I didn't reshare. Just to test.
Okay.
Interesting. So
That worked.
it came in with the wrong name.
So it came in with belt hook 1, so that's the non-ID'd name.
Yep.
Reshare it.
Alright.
That still came in with the non-ID'd name. And the ID flag is ticked on that one?
Yep.
Okay, so what was different with the backsword?
I don't know.
The ID name and non-ID name for the backsword, are they different?
I thought they were. Now I'm starting to question that. Yeah, the non-ID name is Backsword 1. That makes no sense.
Oh, alright. Something I'm going to have to play around with.
Okay, well. As exciting as that is. Friggin' QA. It's time to do the thing.
Promise?
This time, yes. Harbor log. Monday, January 1st, 1725. Kingston, Jamaica. Continued. Having just returned from Old Tom's following up a lead to Morgan's treasure, the expedition has returned to Kingston to find that their information broker Billy has been murdered.
Billy, no.
Which you didn't really know him that well.
Screw that
Maybe.
guy.
I'm going to see how he was murdered.
As you guys are arriving there, one of the onlookers is bringing in the night watch. So as Article's looking over the situation, the night watch shows up. What's all this then?
And that's what I'm trying to find out.
Has very clearly been stabbed multiple times in the gut.
But I don't think that was what killed him.
Looks like suicide.
And it has been confirmed that he is, like, dead, not just unconscious.
Oh yeah, he's dead.
What clearly killed him is he did not have enough bacon today.
The mosquitoes are big here in Kingston.
And
For the
brutal.
For the record, since somebody in chat asked, this image is from Assassin's Creed 4, and it is not necessarily accurate. It just happens to be a reasonably good image. And I'm going to use Assassin's Creed 4 a lot for this.
You just wanted an excuse to drive around in the boat and sail.
I hadn't actually gone into the game and done a screenshot. I was just thinking I needed to do that in a couple of spots.
Well, okay.
Right, so, yeah, multiple stab wounds. I believe it's diagnosis to read the crime scene. Do the forensic thing. And as you start spouting off a bunch of medical jargon, the night watchman will let you continue in stunned fascination.
Even though I'm probably wrong.
Well, it seems mostly obvious in this case that
His blood has vacated his body. That's what killed him.
you couldn't determine anything about the killer necessarily, but it does look like there are more injuries than just the knife wounds, so you would say he probably put up a bit of a fight.
Observe the bruises onto the back of his hands and his knuckles. How they are bloody. Oh, I totally have to go all Sherlock on this and wildly deviate from Daniel's plan.
Actually, was that diagnosis roll? Was that that wouldn't have been perception based, would it? Would that have helped?
It would have been the same.
Hayden is
And-
looking around, observing the crowd to see if there's anyone that looks suspicious, or if there's any sort of vantage points, windows and stuff like that look into this particular location where someone may have seen what happened.
And he walks right into a window.
Oh no, he actually sees somebody suspicious.
Yeah, it's Randel.
Yeah, one of the guys standing around has blood on his hands.
You dolt, that's me.
It just happened to be the guy that found the body before you did.
And is that...
Oh, there's one. That's what I should have rolled. Which I also failed.
Gonna be like that today.
Yep.
Regardless, once Article makes his
he's dead.
makes his original prognosis, the night watchmen start shooing away everybody, tell everybody to go home, and they'll take care of this. So you guys were headed to the ship because you were going to sleep on the ship tonight. Or at least that was the plan when we last spoke.
We wanted to get there as quick as possible in the morning.
So we could send Davino down to swim since he's the best swimmer of the lot of us.
One of the night watchmen asked you, "Hey, what's up with the bag of guns?"
We were set upon. Oh wait, I probably shouldn't be the one answering this, should I? That should be like Randel.
We were set upon by brigands in the
There you go.
north area, or north of here? Is it north of here? On our,
Yes.
bunch of ruffians set upon poor old Tom's house. We kind
I
of
showed them what for,
as he said, we showed them what for.
even though I didn't actually participate. But that's beside the point.
Can't be too careful out in the bush.
Got to make sure you're protected if you're going into the bush.
Apparently you can't be too careful here in the alleys either.
Apparently not. In fact, strangely enough, we had just spoken to this gentleman earlier in the day. He had told us the location of Old Tom.
Who the hell's old Tom?
It's just someone rumored to have run with some old pirates at the time.
What man? Randall is a motor mouth, isn't he?
He doesn't do OPSEC apparently.
What is the Night Watch gonna care?
He could be an evil night watch. Look, they're gonna start wearing those bandana things on the armband things, and
So you guys heading straight back to the ship, or are you gonna hang around?
I have see no reason why we wouldn't go to the ship.
Yep.
Agreed.
Works for me.
Mayhap we may stumble upon Claude.
Speaking of which,
She's
Do
a
we
witch.
actually know? Do we actually know if Claude is a she, or is that still a secret?
currently you do not. So, Claude. Claude was, you guys haven't brought on the rest of the crew yet, but you brought on Claude because you needed somebody to watch the boat while you guys were off in the country. And so he is currently there watching the boat. And Claude finds himself wandering around the ship with the golden skull in one hand, looking for another golden skull. And he's looking around, and he starts jumps off the ship and is walking on the water, looking down into it like it's glass or something like that. And there's lights down there and that sort of thing. And then there's some kind of bumping on the ship, and you wake up.
Huh.
And the bumping was apparently the rest of the PCs arriving and climbing aboard.
Welcome back.
Huzzah! We are back.
There's some excitement, Claude.
Claude was probably not
Reference.
expecting everybody to show up here.
Davino, your monkey's looking at me funny again.
Well, at least it's not talking to you again.
Indeed.
As everybody's getting settled, Claude, as usual, after having one of these dreams, feels some kind of presence out in the ocean, out to the south.
Uh-oh.
It feels very far away.
Man, Mark was right. She is a witch.
Telling you.
He.
So it is after dark, which when the hell was sunset anyway?
Where did you put the map of the boat? Is that on the boards? Or on the
Yes. If you go to the wiki, I think the map is on there. Actually, I'm not sure that's true.
Well,
yeah, so it's about 1800. No,
well, it's
probably
earlier
more.
than I thought it was.
More like about 1900. So you've got to. Well, this would be the normal time anybody go to sleep.
Are you
I
a good
suppose.
swimmer, Claude?
Good question.
Wow, where am I going to do surgery?
I can swim, yes.
Oh, we might have a task. You might, if you're up for it. See, we might be sending Davino to swim a little bit to go find a possible link to a treasure. How does that sound?
Intriguing, I guess.
Absolutely the right answer. Intriguing indeed. Then, if you have no issues, then you can join Davino and or Mr. Palangi when searching, going into the manor of a notorious pirate.
Aye,
What
aye.
could possibly go wrong?
Davino and Claude are like polar opposites.
Which is why they make a great team.
You guys have anything in mind to do in the evening, or shall we move on to the morning?
I clean and reset my weapons.
Yeah, that's one thing people will need to do, cleaning weapons, because these things get very, very dirty.
Was the pistol that I took loaded?
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Because some of them were fired.
I will clean it then, since it's been fired. And that's all I had.
Yeah, I
I'll make sure to
suppose
clean
the
out Mr.
I
Recorder.
suppose the other ones that were not fired, you'll want to draw the charge on those and store them somewhere.
Yeah.
Of particular interest for the overnight period is whether or not there shall be a watch established.
We're
There
on the
will
water,
be
so
a
probably.
watch.
How do you plan to break that up?
By
Do we
using the
have-
party sheet?
Do we have crew on board at the moment, or are they still out and about?
Just you guys. Now, I don't need specifics, but if you guys are all taking an hour or 2 hours or something, you doing it in teams.
I will take either the first watch or the last watch.
Because you've only got 6 right now for a typical 8-hour period.
Well, actually, I would say since Davino is probably going to be swimming, we probably should, early in the morning, then Davino should probably take first watch, so he has the most sleep, uninterrupted sleep between now and then. So Claude and Davino get the first watch.
Can do that.
And if Hayden wants to have the boat ready to move early, then Rogers and Hayden for the last watch, and then that can leave Article and myself to in the middle of the night.
All right, so you make some sort of arrangement, and you'll double team it on watch. When are you going to get started in the morning?
Probably.
Did we decide whether we were going to take the boat or we're just going to row across?
Which is going to be faster, to row or take the boat?
For the record, the boat is currently anchored at an anchorage point in the bay. It's not, tied off at the
So
docks.
I guess we're rowing.
So you will have gotten into the cockboat to come over to the ship, and I'm presuming you're going to leave that in the water.
Actually, if I recall from last session, Rogers was going to ensure, because the ship wasn't ready to leave yet. We still need to pick up stores and such.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
there's
why I
still
was thinking
quite a
we
bit
take
of
the
stuff to do.
Row.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the end result of the conversation last time was that you were planning to row over to the dive point.
We're gonna row our boat gently through the bay.
I suppose it would be worthwhile to put the map up there, although apparently Brian's already put it up.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the ship map or the deck plan thing on the blog because I was trying to figure out where the frick I'm gonna do surgery if I need to do surgery.
Now, a word on that. First off, most of the bunks on the ship are in little cubby holes
Yeah, I see that birds all over the place.
And actually, if you look at the images of the interior of the ship, you can see them, and it's just a friggin' hole with a bed on the inside of it. So, 2 points on that. One, Claude is going to hate those. And two, Davino is going to hate those.
Why are both of them going to hate
Claude
them? Are they
is
claustrophobic?
claustrophobic. Davino's just big.
Yeah, Davino's
Hammocks.
going to have a hard time fitting in there. Claude can sleep in one because there's still an opening there. You're not necessarily trapped, but it's enclosed enough that it would probably make you a little bit uncomfortable.
Just sleep on the deck. What's the worst that could happen?
But for the night, you could sleep on the deck, no problem.
Sure.
Because it's pretty warm right now. So, first light.
First light.
Is that going to be the plan? And do you have anything at this point in mind to do other than the dive?
Keep an eye out for anyone else interested in what's going on.
I'm wondering if everybody needs to actually be involved in that. I figure those of us that aren't could theoretically be getting the ship ready for departure and getting all of the replacement supplies and stuff like that.
So the plan is, well, okay.
Do we actually have a purser?
Well, that's not really been decided yet. But I can give a few guesses as to where fingers will be pointed in that regard.
The person who has accounting and finance?
So, as far as the dive itself goes, the plan here is I was going to run that as a skill challenge, and the more people that get involved, the faster and smoother it'll go.
I'll go. I'm definitely going because
Yeah.
I want to be there when stuff comes up out of the water.
Hayden will
Now, having
definitely be
said
back
that-
at the ship, making sure it's ready.
Yeah, I think Article will stick with Hayden in that regard, so I'll be helping him out since I have the more financially minded character. Then figure maybe
Alright.
everybody else goes on the boat and gets eaten by the sea kraken, or the not the sea kraken, the baby kraken.
So, we
Are we
will.
a catch?
It is technically a catch, yes. We will go to Tuesday, January 2nd. Nice weather, bit hot, kind of muggy. Sunrise at 06:30.
Of course, Daniel knows what time the sunrise is.
Because it's kind of important. Let's, I'm going to use the party sheet real quick on the marching order. So, oh good, that still works. So we got all the portraits here. So Hayden and Spencer were talking about staying aboard the ship.
Yep, we're doing ship preparation stuff.
Got Davino, Claude, and Payne are diving. What is Rogers doing?
I guess staying in the boat, maintaining position and stuff, and keeping
Now
an eye
you
out
guys
around.
can if you want to help out with the dig, there are ways you can make that work. You can be helpful there.
Swim!
Right now, there's not a whole lot to do at the ship, except for potentially paperwork.
Oh no, I mean the boat that we're taking to the dive
The
site.
rowing thing.
Oh, so you're going with them.
Yes.
Okay.
They'll hold the guideline and keep us from, like...
All right, so we got 4 going and 2 staying. That will do. All right, so you guys take the cockboat off the ship and row out to Port Royal,
And that's the last.
which is not very far.
That's the last me and Hayden ever see of them. It's now our ship. Sadly, he's going to die shortly thereafter, so it'll be my ship.
Let me see. So we need that one for reference and that one.
Wow.
So the second image, the first one, the left-hand side is the pre-earthquake Port Royal. The second one is about 100 years after the current date, but that's where the rebuild keeps attempting to happen and then keeps getting wiped out again. You can see the fort there off to the right. That one's Fort Charles. And this is, as I said before, sort of the headquarters of the Jamaica Command for the British Navy. So I'm presuming there's still a few outbuildings around there. There's some kind of, I hesitate to call it a town, but there's also going to be some docks there as well. So if you look back to the overhead map, some buildings on the land area, and everything else. Your current destination is there-ish, which my arrow does not show up very well. There-ish. And I think there's probably a bit more land showing between the fort and the rest of the land, or the rest of the sandbar that used to be Port Royal. But that's probably good enough for our purposes. So let's go over the plan here. So, skill challenge. It's going to be 6 successes versus 3 fails. There's going to be a bad of 2, so it's a little difficult, but not impossible. The base time period here is going to be for the day, so I'm assuming you're going to take all day to do it, unless you end up getting lucky and finding it early. 2 skills that are going to be featured here are swimming and search. Those don't need an explanation. And there are some other issues involved with swimming. Yeah, so if you succeed without any failures at all, it'll take less time. Failure of the overall skill challenge just means you don't find the coin that day. Okay. So you can actually try this again later days if you don't find it the first time.
Gotcha.
And with that, I would mention that, okay, how deep is it there?
How deep is your love?
I could not answer that because that would be weird. I think it ended up a couple of fathoms there, right around that area. So it's deep enough that it's going to be kind of a pain, but not deep enough that you're in any kind of trouble. Definitely doable for even inexperienced divers. Now, who is planning to actually swim?
Davino for sure.
And he had actual points in it.
Yes, he has a swimming of 15.
Claude have points in it?
Points meaning what?
And you have actual points spent on swimming, the skill?
1.
Yeah, okay.
But you have a point.
Anybody else planning to do the swimming?
No.
Sure, why not?
All right. You have the skill, you have points in it?
Nope. Do I need it?
Okay. Maybe not. You probably will want to make note of your default in that case. But you'll also make a health-based swimming roll. Because your eyes are not used to the salt water.
What's swim default to?
It's health. I think it's health -5.
Swimming is that hard? Well, I guess if you don't.
Swimming is health.
4. Health -4.
4.
Health -4. Well, if I don't know if. Yeah, I don't know if I want to.
Oh, no.
Well,
not.
he may get in
kind of
there
risk.
and then change his mind. Now,
Yeah,
I'm
gonna.
this is just to see if he can open his eyes underwater and not scream in agony.
I see what you're saying. Let me try it and then see. It's like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm out. And that's health -4, so that would be an 8. Hey!
All right.
It kind of stings, but
Yeah, it definitely hurts, but he can manage. Yeah, a couple of historical notes here. Goggles actually were recently invented, the sort of goggles that we would probably recognize now. Although, apparently, some Pacific Islander types they use turtle shells as goggles somehow. I don't even know how the hell that works. And then there's another one I remember seeing where they have a wooden frame that just traps an air bubble in it, and somehow that works. It's weird, but anyway, yeah.
For reference as well, if you enter the water intentionally, you get +4 on your swimming roll.
Well, that wasn't what this was for, though. I'm not even requiring that at this point because you got plenty of time to acclimate. So the other thing to consider here is the diving bell has existed since antiquity. So the idea of taking some air down with you and being able to stay down longer is something that any of the characters would think of. Having said that, you might have to get creative in order to make that actually work.
Ooh, a couple water skins filled with air.
Hyperventilate.
Wine skins?
Hyperventilate before diving.
Oh.
Did that actually work? Can you breathe out of that?
Yeah, you suck it in and then blow out.
Yeah, if you
I've
want to
never
die.
actually tried that. I was thinking of
No,
if you if you put pitch on a barrel and seal it nicely, and then you'd have to weight it down, but you could actually get it to trap an air bubble that way. Okay, so we will go ahead and do the rolling for the skill challenge part, and then we'll deal with some specifics after that. So 3 of you are actually going to swim, and or use search, whichever one you like for your first roll. And we are going to use the you have to use a different roll if you make a second attempt.
Question.
Yes.
Can I use cartography and have gone over the maps to make sure that we're in the first, to start it off, that we're even in the near where we're supposed to start?
Well,
success gives us 1 success.
I think that's probably appropriate, so I will allow it. What about Rogers? What do you want to try?
I was thinking of ship handling. Or actually, seamanship is more appropriate than ship handling for keeping the boat on station.
That'd probably be boating. You have that, don't you?
No.
Do you not?
Nope. I have ship handling, but I realized when I said it out loud that wouldn't cover small craft.
Yeah, you'd want boating unpowered. You could probably default that though.
Okay. Actually, since I'm not going to be able to do that very well, I might ought to just help with the swimming.
You could do that too. Does he swim?
Yeah, at a 12, so they give me a 16 with going in intentionally.
Oh yeah, you're probably fine. Alright, swimming it is for all of you, except for the cartography. And like I said, search is also a valid skill for that, if somebody wants to try that. Although the conditions underwater, it's going to be a -4 to spot things. Although I will say that -4 is going to not stack with the bad. So that's probably covered anyway. Alright, so all your rolls are going to be at -2 unless otherwise specified due to the bad. And we will start from the left. So don't do the +4 for entering intentionally. That's not going to be relevant to this skill challenge.
All right.
But if you can work out some other bonuses, that's fine.
I guess if it's just swimming -2. No good.
Alright, we got 1 fail. Randel's next. One success. Davino? Success. And Claude. Fail. We got 2 fails. Alright, next round. Alright, for the next run through, you'll have to figure out a different skill. Rogers?
I'm looking at my skills list.
You could probably do leadership.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah, that'd be a good one.
I can see that. You can go ahead and roll that if you want to.
Yay.
Okay, there you go. That's 3. Randall?
So, point of order. You have
Bye-bye.
Rogers as swimming 12 minus 2 is a fail, but don't you get the +4 for intentionally entering the
Not
water?
in this case.
Well, that's lame.
Yeah, that +4 for entering the water is only for entering the water.
Well, he was entering the water.
He got the bonus when he entered the water.
Uh-huh.
Sorry, I had like really hot food in my mouth. I'm gonna go with as we're looking, I'm check the building architecture and whatnot to help identify the right building.
Okay. What skill is that?
Archaeology? No, that's not archaeology. Would it? No, that's. Hold on, I was thinking that was architecture for some reason. Oops. Hold
Does
on.
he have archaeology? Is that what you're
I
looking
do
at?
have archaeology.
Did you bring wit?
Let's see.
Well, now to be fair, archaeology kind of works here.
Okay.
This
Skills
is a
for
dig.
Looking for a coin.
Yeah, I guess it is. So.
If you got it at high enough.
Nope.
Okay, that is 3 fails. So you guys work at it, and by the end of the day, you hadn't found what you were looking for.
Unfortunate.
It
I'm gonna
is.
have to go over there the next day and invoke the serendipity.
That would be freaking hilarious.
Wait, how many successes have we had?
Oh yeah. Did you fail that last? Yeah, you failed that last one. You want to luck it?
Yeah, I'm thinking about lucking it.
Just don't roll like crap.
Hey, he just has to make average. Don't forget the -2.
Boom. Well, that unless I get a crit
Okay.
success, right?
Well, yeah, I guess you get crit. Wow. All right.
Try
Change
to.
of plan. How did that luck manifest?
So, just as we were kind of shifting through some of the silt and whatnot, we were just about to give up, and I bumped up against something that loosened some more debris, which revealed what we were looking for.
Damn it. I apologize.
Ooh, National Geographic.
Never mind that.
That's why you're supposed to trim the images, dude.
And that is actually Port Royal. All right. Snatched a victory from the jaws of defeat. Davino's up.
Alrighty. Would it be possible to use wrestling in order to essentially know the proper leverage to move some rubble a bit more easily and clear the way?
Oh, that's tricky. I don't know about wrestling, but I think I would be okay with allowing strength for that, just as raw strength.
Okay.
All right, that's 5. All right, Claude. You either win it or lose it. It's all on you.
Yay.
Claude's lucky, right?
Okay, so what is scrounging?
Scrounging is finding something that will work for what you need right now. So, how do you explain that? Like, if you needed a weapon and you could scrounge and find something that would work as a weapon, or find an actual weapon.
I'm just having difficulty finding another thing in my list of skills.
Well, let me see what you have.
She's scrounging for the right skill.
Indeed. Let me see here. Urban survival would be kind of a stretch, but maybe work. As you're sort of figuring out the layout of the town.
Okay.
I'm looking. You could use escape to get in and out of a small place. Let's see. I don't see pickpocket working.
Oh, that works perfectly. Escape, because you think about it. We're working in tight quarters.
Uh-huh.
And she's like lithe and skinny, and that's like one of her awesome skills too.
Yeah, except with the -2, she'd only get a 10 on that, so
Isn't she skinny?
it'd be kind of tight. She is skinny.
I thought she gets a bonus to escape.
I don't think that gives you. Does it give you a bonus?
I don't know.
I don't think it does.
Maybe not. Should have auto-calculated if it did.
Yeah, those are the only ones that are jumping out at me right now.
So I'll probably use the urban survival, and you said it's at a -2, you said?
Yeah. Yay!
Ta-da!
6
We are
successes and only
saved.
2 fails. So
Nice
it
job.
took you all day, but eventually by the end of the day you're gonna have found it. So, earlier in the day, as you guys are getting situated, a party arrives by boat. And they row up to your position where you're getting ready.
I get salute.
Sorry, I'm juggling images right now.
Juggle faster.
Maurice, how
And
good to see you out here.
He waves. He waves as you guys are bobbing in and out of the water. Says, "Bonjour, Shiva. I hope you are having a good search."
Just a swim, Maurice. The water's fine. Why don't you join us?
I would not do that myself. I have come here to show you I have a document signed by the governor. Says that I have claim to anything you might find in the cemetery.
Well, that would be great if we found anything, Maurice.
You're not searching in the cemetery, are you?
No, you are not searching in the cemetery. And clearly he does not know that.
pity Mark, you can't come up with something that sends him off on a, oh, well, I did find this, but it sends him off on a wild goose chase.
Oh, that would be... from now on, I'm going to carry a false trinket.
A what?
A false trinket that looks like it could be authentic. Like find an old coin or some kind of big coin, something. Put some funky markings on it that are absolutely meaningless. Let it sit in seawater for a while, and then carry it around like it has some kind of special meaning.
How do you respond to his document?
Well, you got to read it, don't you?
Well, give me a moment while I step out of here. I'm a little wet right now, unless you want to hand it to me while I'm in the drink.
I am in no hurry.
Your boat to mine. I'm looking at the two small boats.
You should let it accidentally get caught by the wind and fly off into the sea.
Oh, I have plans.
All right. Well, you clamber into his boat. Isn't that a boating roll?
Oh! Can I intentionally fail that roll and tip the boat? Please! I want to tip the boat.
Are you trying to make it look like an accident?
Yes!
Okay. I would say you probably have to make a boating roll just to tip it over on purpose too.
Do it.
Oh,
there are people in there.
Oh, I don't have boating. Would that default to seamanship at all?
I don't know what that defaults to.
Oh man, I burned my luck too.
Yeah, but you needed it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna roll.
Boating
something.
defaults to Dex -5 or IQ -5.
Dang it.
Now's the time to crit succeed, Dad.
That was the time. Oh, I.
Oh.
Oh. It almost
no.
was. I saw it. I saw that 4 rolled to a 1 for a moment.
Well, that's still a success.
How
clumsy
Oh
of me.
man, I should have declared that was a quick contest, and I didn't.
Too bad, so sad.
See, I'm so tired. Oh.
Thinking. Oh, and you only made it by 0.
My entire goal is to get the letter wet or damaged.
Yeah.
Well, that's not.
Maybe I
hard.
splash it, cause him to lose
Okay,
balance
well,
just enough that as I'm kind of trying to pull myself in.
I'll give
water.
You look damn clumsy trying to get into the boat, and it was for sure gonna tip, although it didn't. But you got water over everything, including his documents. So.
Oh, more importantly, all over his clothes.
I'm so sorry, Maurice. I've tired myself out, swimming under there. Looking for a church.
He's being typically French about it too, and being very polite while not being very polite.
I'm trying to be. It's like, I'm so sorry. We were looking for a church, down there.
He just what are you talking about? You're British. He just insulted you. You need to, tell him your second will call upon his second.
Yeah, but I know I'm in the wrong.
Like, that's gonna stop you.
And I don't want to see the guy come to harm, death. I just like to humiliate and beat him.
See, that's then in that case, you get into the duel, and you ensure that he misses you with his shot, and then you refuse to shoot him. because it tells everybody you think he's beneath you.
Don't think about that too hard.
I'll I'll just play it like
You're thinking about it.
I am, but I'll play it like that was entirely unintentional. We were out here looking for a church, et cetera, et cetera. Didn't realize that we were over a great,
Graveyard.
What are you looking? It's like, oh, you're looking for a graveyard? Really? What's in this graveyard?
Do you actually want him to believe you were not doing that on purpose?
Yes. Well,
Acting, then.
maybe. Okay. Ah.
You were not very
You were
convincing.
too busy laughing.
I know.
Oh,
right?
I fell over.
Oh, but I fell over again.
Well, you look at the document, which is now somewhat damp, and it looks pretty normal to you. Of course, you're not a lawyer, so... And you don't know the governor's signature, so you don't
If
know
only
if
you
that's
knew
actually
someone
his.
who had
And the
law.
ink is now a little bit, Well, if you're looking for this, I can't read this word. The water's got a little smudgy here. Is this a graveyard?
Samaritan.
Oh wait, there is a graveyard on this map.
It is a shame you have to do all this work. I myself already have one of his coins. And he will actually pull out the coin and show it to you. As you know, I'm sure, Morgan made several of these.
Well,
So if you need to see what you're looking for, here it is.
well, I appreciate it. I guess we'll have to come back tomorrow and look again. Oh dear.
So you have seen the document, you've seen the coin. You have anything else to do there?
No.
So you'll slip back out of the boat and get back to work.
Well, I'm assuming we found what we were looking for.
Well, this was earlier in the day, so you were still getting to it.
This happened before we found what we were looking for.
Yeah, I'm backtracking a little.
Gotcha. Well, banana sandwiches. We really got to find this thing. Only luck would be on our side for once.
Well, they start as Boissonade is rowing away. He'll yell out to you, "Bonne chance!"
Cheerio, good son. Good, cheerio, mate.
Oh no, the Markish accent is coming back.
I need to check something. Okay. Yeah, during the day, there were at least a couple of other instances where somebody came rowing over. Once it was just some fishermen or whatnot, locals look like, and another instance of some soldiers from the fort poking around, asking what you guys were up to.
Stuff. Thanks.
Holy crap, that's annoying. And other than that, that's your part of the day. So the two of you hanging back at the ship, nothing happens over there that you're aware of. Article gets a great deal of work done. And you guys can see throughout the day people rowing over. I don't know how paranoid you are. I know that Hayden had some interest in that East Indiaman that had showed up.
Yes, it's still in port.
Yeah, so it anchored out in the bay, and you were not there yesterday, so you didn't see what had happened. But sometime around midday, you saw a boat row out with a dozen or so crew, and they came back, apparently loading provisions. But throughout the day, you saw that people were still on the boat. Looked like most of the crew didn't leave.
Because they're all zombies.
And it was established that this boat is a little out of their usual operating area. It's unusual to see this one here.
It isn't unusual. It is unusual to see one of those in the Caribbean.
In that case, Hayden will endeavour to find out purely out of curiosity what the boat is doing here.
You picked up a spyglass, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So you will have seen the name of the ship. It's Nijmegen.
Is that the name of the city?
It is. Are you?
Does it have any reputation?
You don't recognize it. Were you planning on leaving your ship to go find out, or are you just staying put?
Hayden will actually go leave the ship, find out. And
actually, you can't unless you're going to swim. They took the cockboat.
We only have the one?
You only have the one. So apparently you were standing there on the deck looking at it through the spyglass going, boy, I'd sure like to go find out what the hell's going on with that thing, but somebody took the cockboat.
What about supplies that are being delivered?
To them?
No, to us.
They're not being delivered yet.
Well, as we expect some to be delivered, if the other guys haven't come back, Hayden is going to request a ferry back to the shore with the delivery boat.
I'll stop you there just to clarify the situation. So you don't have a destination yet, and so you can't get provisions to go to a destination that you don't have.
Okay, so we haven't actually organised any of that.
The crew here. Yeah, you haven't even figured out where you're going yet. So now you guys might have had some conversation about that last night.
Yeah, we said the one island.
Well, and the players here need to coordinate the situation as far as that goes. If we want to say that conversation was had the previous night, that's probably fine with me. In which case, you guys can start that process. but the specific thing, the Morgan treasure that you're after, you didn't have the coin last night, so
True.
you didn't know for sure if you were going to be able to leave. So that would have colored what you had to decide there. But at least by the end of this day, you're going to have it. So, do we want to have that conversation now and say it took place last night?
Well, I would definitely say we had a pretty good clue. The island that I would have shared it.
Right, but every one of you has a place to go.
Oh,
and
right.
So you need to coordinate.
Well, right now I can, well, we're gonna have that conversation one way or another. I mean, right now with Boissonade tipping his hand, we now know we're on a race.
Okay, well, this is probably a good quote-unquote stopping point for that, so why don't we go ahead and take care of that?
The race is on.
Let me bring up the map.
Did Davino leave the monkey on the boat or on the ship?
Yeah.
Davino can't leave the monkey anywhere. That monkey wants to go with him. Monkey will stay in the cockboat if you don't make him stay.
I was going to be talking to him if he left him, because he looked sad and lonely.
Did you want to make him stay on the ship?
Yeah, I'd say that. Otherwise, he'd get bored on the little cockpit.
Okay. Hayden, at some point during the day, realizes he doesn't know where his hat is.
Excellent.
I'm going to kill that monkey.
Well, there are only so many places it can be. Oh, I meant to ask you,
it's going to be in Claude's bed.
Well, I guess we hadn't determined it yet, but...
Oh, even better if the monkey steals stuff and blames it on Claude.
That's awesome.
I don't know how he would blame it on anyone in particular.
That'll work a lot better the other way around.
That's why it's funny, though. Go, that monkey's not smart enough to do that. And then the monkey gives you the big shit-eating grin.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so you guys all actually have the map? I think it tells me when it's been transmitted to you, but I don't know if it says when it's actually finished loading.
I have it.
Still loading for me.
I see it.
It takes a while to get to the underside of the planet. Okay, so obviously the green pen is where you are now.
We should go to Florida.
So,
this map doesn't look accurate.
The one
Florida looks terrible.
The one location that we have right now for Pain is the Ilavash, which is there. And is probably gonna be the closest. Let's see. Article was gonna go to Port-au-Paix.
Port-au-Paix on a certain day, on a certain hour, to meet a certain person at a certain place in a certain city.
Let's see. Davino
to obtain a certain thing. But
Davino is gonna find a guy in Barbados, which is there.
Wow.
Just a little bit.
Whee! That's some distance.
Well, to be fair, it's really not.
Claude does not know where the location is that he's going, but he knows it is to the south from where he is now.
So just stick a pin somewhere south. That's not a pin. That's a gun.
Well, whatever.
I don't know if
Oh,
we
wait.
want to go south now.
Why would it be a gun?
No, I
Should
got
be
better.
a skull.
I forgot about another. Here we go.
There's the Monty Python. Yep.
That has completely broken my suspension of disbelief.
Who are we missing? We got Davino. Hayden was going somewhere in the Bahamas, but he does not have a specific location, I think. Do you have possibly a destination in mind in the Bahamas to start your search?
No, he hasn't found no clues as to where, other than the letter,
right?
Saying that his son served here and there, and other than that, he's got no other clues. So at the moment, he's searching for clues.
Okay, well, you've done a lot of digging, and...
Wait, how old is his son?
Crap, I don't remember.
And how old is Claude?
Early 20s, I think.
Yeah, I think his son's in the 20s.
Are you sure?
It was his son.
I don't know if I mentioned it to you before, but you also had the name of a friend, a close friend of your son's. The name is
Claude?
The name is Thomas Friendly Jr., who is supposed to be a merchant.
No, he's really not.
In the Bahamas somewhere. And the only other thing that I can tell you is that the capital of the Bahamas, for lack of a better term, is currently in New Providence, aka Nassau.
This map, when was this map made?
This map is really close to the right era.
Okay, that explains why Florida is so jacked up.
Well, Florida lost a lot of weight over the years.
I guess so.
It's what
it went on a diet.
Yeah, I don't remember what the actual date on this map is, but it's pretty close.
That was some severe erosion there.
Of interest to you, perhaps, the coast of Florida there, on the east coast of Florida, is where the Spanish treasure fleet sank in 1717. Or was it 15? I think it was 15. With 11 billion pesos of all manner of treasure.
That's
which
Randel's
kicked
next
off,
obsession.
Which kicked off a lot of the well-known pirates.
Yep, that's Randel's next obsession, isn't it?
So Randel will be painfully aware of the treasure fleet sunk off Florida.
You also realize, Mark, that he can never actually keep the treasure because then he's just going to end up retiring.
Right. It all belongs in a museum.
Rogers is the one I'm missing here. Okay. Rogers had a report that Pickford Rodney had headed on a ship to Havana. Or something around there, I think.
Ah, okay. I had forgotten about that.
Let me make sure I'm not lying to you.
He might be lying to you because he's a low-down, dirty, lying liar.
Yeah.
See, he agreed.
Your last report was that about 3 years ago he hired onto a ship bound for Havana, so...
Ah, okay.
That's the only information you had. He could be anywhere from there, but that's what you got. So that's your destination. So I think that's got everybody covered. Now, for the record, trade winds. So going to the left on this map is really easy. Going to the right on this map is really hard.
Hooray!
So, for example, if you trip that takes a week going to the west would probably take about 4 or 5 weeks going east. Bear that in mind.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is it looks like we can kind of reach the furthest point, or kind of do a circuitous route through to since it's going to take us forever to get to the east anyway. Start off east, hit the closest points, get to Barbados, swing back around, going south. Try and track down somewhere new. Whatever Claudia's pulling her, and then tack north back up through to Cuba and the Bahamas.
Now, you're probably not making any plans at this point on Claude's behalf,
right?
Since he hasn't talked to anybody about that. Technically, that's also true of Rogers, although he might have mentioned
Probably
Havana.
Article. I mean, Article probably mentioned, at some point he needs to go to Port-au-Prince or whatever. Port-au-Prince?
Port-au-Prince.
Isn't it just Port-au-Prince now?
No, Port-au-Prince is different.
Right. I don't know. I don't think about those things.
It looks like we have enough places to stop and keep ourselves in goods. But now, here's the kicker. We get to Voyage, and next thing we know, we're going... That might kick us all the way some other direction. Probably likely west or so.
That is true, that when you get there, you're potentially going to find a clue that's going to point you somewhere completely different.
I mean, we can initially kind of go with an idea that that's how we intend to go, and then we'll see where each stop will dictate how we actually go. Because if we end up going east to go west, then we can get north and hit Cuba, and then Bahamas, then Port-au-Prince, and so who knows?
Somebody killing your children in the background.
Oh, they're just really excited about whatever game they're playing.
All right. Anybody have any other suggestions about routes to take here?
Nope.
I do not. In that, since things just sort of work out for Article with the serendipity thing, figure we're gonna arrive in that place on the day that I need to be there.
Well, I think the
that could be like when we're heading up in this direction towards Fat Florida to do the other stuff. Like maybe we go, oh, while we're here, can we deviate over there?
Well, yeah, you could do it that way too, I guess.
Then craziness ensues. I apologize in advance. Apologize in advance for the demon monkeys.
Say what?
Don't worry, we have one of our own.
Oh, he's the king of them. What are you talking about? At least that's what he's told me.
All right, so is that what we want to do? Go Voyage, Barbados, and then start working your way back to the west?
If that's where Voyage takes us.
That seems the most logical thing to me, anyway.
Yeah, obviously things are probably going to change as you go, but for starters, all right. Well, let's mark that. Oh, by the way, the units on this map are in leagues. I apparently don't have the ability to add a new unit of measure.
That's because not very many people use leagues.
Well, that's definitely true.
Just convert to miles.
But then it's,
That is an option too.
well, I
Straight
guess
there.
you could do that.
And that's still going to take a long time, though, apparently.
Well, my
Yeah.
Do the
concern
winds
with
ever
that-
just swap? I don't
Nope.
know how winds work in that regard. That seems dumb.
The other problem with doing that,
I want to
route,
talk to
going
the
via-
manager.
The other problem going VFR direct like that is we get stuck out there. We're stuck out there.
Oh, you're not going direct like that. That's definitely not going to happen because you'd have to sail right into the wind.
It's essentially would be island hopping.
That's what I
Yeah,
was
you'll be beating against the wind as you go that way, so you'll be tacking back and forth. And how far you tack is a whole nother thing. Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
going to be a pain.
Hayden could die en route.
And also, for example, on the return, it's entirely logical that you'd want to go visit the other Lesser Antilles, the Windward Islands or the Leeward Islands, because St. Kitts is there. That's one of the largest English colonies in the Caribbean, and other French colonies in the area, Dutch. A lot of the bigger that area right there is like the entry point to the Caribbean, so all the shipping comes there.
If you wish to update the scale accordingly, set your, I don't know what you've got there for leagues at the moment in the scale, or you've got it set to a number.
Yeah, I've got no units set on it.
Yeah, but what's your number?
1.
Alright, we'll change it to 3 and then make it miles.
I don't know if I'm using the English and French league scale, which I don't know if that's exactly correct. Maybe close enough. I don't know. This is kind of an estimate for you guys anyway.
Yeah, well, if you change that 1 to a 3, and then set the units to miles, then it'll be right.
Well, I guess that's probably easier. I don't need the range. We'll call it that. Okay.
Yeah, seems mostly accurate. 100 leagues is 300 miles.
So on the return trip, you want to hit Havana first, or you want to go to the Bahamas first? Just to set your base.
On our return trip?
Uh-huh. Currently at the end of what we have.
Well, I guess actually would Bahamas be probably Bahamas, I guess, in that case. Come that way. I mean, if we're wanting to go cut south around those islands, hit Barbados, and then cut back north, and then hit Portape, then Bahamas, and then Cuba? That would be the thing.
So, like
Asking?
so.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we will go with that as our preliminary route. So, having done that, actually, I don't remember where Havana is on this. Oh, there it is. So it is likely that you'll want to hit up some other ports along the way. We don't need to necessarily map that out at the moment, but if you are, we'll bear that in mind that you're going to be hitting up some of the ports. I'm going to assume that because you are going to be out for quite a while, and food spoils. So you can only keep so much provision for so long before you got to get more. Let's see, do we need to deal with anything else? So, at this point, you could say that your destination is specifically Voyage, although there's not much there. You could say that your next destination is Barbados. And I'm saying this in reference to if you're taking passengers or freight or whatever, and you need to figure out the destination. There are other cities along the southern coast of Hispaniola that are potentially useful in that regard. If you want to consider your destination an earlier stop than Barbados. I think if I had to pick one, Santo Domingo.
We're definitely gonna probably hit up St. Kitts, you were saying, right?
Uh-huh.
That's definitely probably one place that we're definitely going to hit up on our way to Barbados and probably our way back.
Let's see. I don't remember which one. Let's see. That's Nevis. St. Christopher. Which one's freaking St. Kitts? Yeah, that's one of those. Alright, well, I don't want to do all night doing this. Let's,
Well, I guess the initial agreement is Vache with enough to carry us at least one town next, if we plan on heading back that way, or carrying on with east.
Let's just go with Santiago, or not Santiago, Santo Domingo. Well, that's Spanish though. You can't trade there, but you can buy provisions there, I think so.
What do you mean
So you
you
wouldn't
can't trade there?
Spanish will not let anybody but Spanish trade with Spanish.
I can speak Spanish.
It's not speaking Spanish. You got to be Spanish.
I could beat Spanish.
Unless you want to smuggle. Yeah, so a note about that. Currently, according to the last Navigation Act, in order to sell goods to English ports, you have to be an English ship that is made in England or made at an English colony. You have to have, all the owners need to be English, and the crew needs to be 75% English.
Wow, very specific.
And you have to take your goods to one of the major cities first, and it has to go through there where it gets taxed or whatever, and then you can go to whatever your actual destination is. Yes, they are very specific. And basically, if you don't do any of those things, you're smuggling. The Spanish have a similar arrangement. Currently, they have what's called asiento, which allows English and Dutch, I think both, to sell slaves to Spanish cities or Spanish colonies without any extra to do. But other than that, they won't trade with anybody but Spanish ships.
All right. Well, we have a coin.
You do have a coin.
Now we need to get our stuffs and start sailing.
So
I'm sailing away, set an open course.
With all that in mind, do you want to try to get any sort of freight or passengers, and if so, to where? So you want to try to get it to Ilavash because Ilavash is tiny, and you're probably not going to get anything going there. But you never know; you could get lucky.
Well,
I'll at
taking
least poke around.
passengers. I mean, taking passengers to whatchamacallit, though. That's not trade, is it?
No, that doesn't count, as far as I know. Unless they're immigrating, there might be some kind of immigration concern, but no, passengers, you shouldn't have any issues.
As long as they know there's not exactly a lot of space on this boat.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of room for passengers, really, but money is money, if they agree to it.
So yeah, I guess how do we even advertise that?
I don't know literally how that happens, but mechanically, it's you make a roll and you either get passengers or you don't.
What are you rolling against?
Let me confirm that.
I have public speaking debate and public speaking rhetoric.
Merchant, I believe it is. Or streetwise.
I think it may be merchant. Streetwise, I think, applies to smuggling or otherwise illegal stuff. Let's see, where are my damn notes? Blah, 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 blah. And I didn't put what the actual roll was against. I think it is merchant, though. Who is our merchant?
Argo has a 13.
Merchant.
12.
I have 11.
What crap, really? I'm wearing all the hats.
I did have that on the spreadsheet. I need to update that, though. I don't think it's 100%. Yeah. Because he had Spencer with a 13, Claude with a 13, oddly enough. I don't know if that's actually current, though. And yeah, Rogers with a 12.
Yeah.
Okay. No. 20. Right. Searching. Well, I can get the specifics later, but I'm pretty sure it's merchant. Okay,
All
so
right. So it's
when
a
it comes to
merchant
the
roll.
merchanting, yeah, it's probably going to be you.
Actually, look at my disads and see if any of those start to come into play.
Let's let's establish first here. What are you looking for? Are you looking for? And the choices here are freight, passengers, and speculative freight or cargo.
Probably just freight at first. If passengers pop up, then I'll go with that. But
Okay, so it's a roll for each.
right, so freight by 2, then potential passengers by 0.
Okay.
Not enthusiastic about the speculative because I don't think we have the money for that.
Well, that's another thing we're going to have to sort out as well.
Didn't Mark request that
Minimal, yeah.
Freight and trade and all that sort of stuff just happens in the background?
That's
It is
what
not
we're
a feature of the
ignoring.
game.
We're gonna ignore Mark.
We're going to be doing some of it, and hopefully it will not be a big deal. It's just something that is going to happen.
I'm gonna take Randel along with me when I'm doing this stuff. I'm gonna force him to get better at it.
I can roll for whatever.
No, it's
But
just
that's-
like I'm taking him along, dude, for the
That
syncing
works.
this stuff out and such like that. Because hey, Article's probably still under the delusion that he does have that delusion, but once he gets his wife back, he's gonna retire somewhere.
That's fine. Oh,
He doesn't
hey,
realize he's truly
mean-
a BC.
Randall doesn't care. Randall doesn't mind. Going with you.
He's just probably bored senseless by the whole merchanting
That's
thing.
me.
It's probably also Randall.
Oh, probably.
I'm having to look at rule shit, and my eyes are crossing right now. I need to take
So
a
look at rules
brief.
shit later.
I need to take a brief timeout.
You slacker.
And decide how I want to do that, because, well, yeah.
So we
Okay.
taking a 5-minute break, or are we looking at that later?
Let's take 5, because that needs to happen, and I'll make a decision about whether or not I'm going to try to deal with that now or try to deal with that offline, because I have to decide whether or not we can get away with doing it offline and it's not going to interrupt anything. So, 5-minute break. Be right back.
Back.
Yay. So, let me clarify. The previous night, after you guys went back to the ship, you guys gathered and over the map and figured out where you're going next.
While being a little paranoid to make sure that we're not eavesdropped on by people on the route.
It would be really hard to do that, given that you were anchored out in the middle of the bay.
But not impossible.
But not impossible. Also, the monkey is listening. And you don't
We
know
all
who
stare
he's
at the
going to
monkey
tell.
for a moment.
Boom knows everything.
Actually, I say that, the monkey is deaf. He actually can't listen.
He's not deaf. He's just pretending to be deaf.
But back to the point. So, the process of looking for freight, passengers, whatever you're going to do, all of those things take 2 days. That's the base time period. Time spent applies to that. So if you wanted to do it in 1 day, for example, that's 50%. I believe that's a -5. If you're in a hurry.
No. I figured it would take us at least that long to get supplies and get the crew and all that stuff, so 2 days sounds fine.
When you are looking for those things, at least, yeah, for both freight and passengers, what you will do is you will advertise where you're going, and then if somebody wants to go there or wants to send something there, they will contact you and you can make arrangements. That's when you make your merchant roll, or you get that out of the merchant roll, and people can do assistance rolls for that. So, for example, if Randel wanted to carouse and try and convince merchants to actually make some kind of deal, then that stuff can be done. I didn't say do that yet. Roll
He
doesn't
just
count
said
unless
if
I
I
ask
wanted
for
to
it.
do it, I wanted to do it.
He was just looking for an excuse to carouse.
It is
And-
merchant. Also, if anybody in the group has area knowledge for the region at 12, you get a +1 on that. And I'm pretty sure somebody does.
I'm probably going to spend a point in it some point. Well, I don't know. How long have we been? We've been here
Yeah,
6 months.
You've been in the local area for 6 months, so you definitely know. And you don't need to spend a point on that. You got that at IQ level.
So, 14.
So technically you've got a 14 at this point. For Jamaica specifically.
But Hayden knows the Caribbean better than I do.
Yeah, I was looking to see. I didn't put area knowledge on the on that spreadsheet, so I don't know what everybody has right off the top of my head. Yeah,
Well, Hayden's
okay.
got
So
13.
Hayden's got Caribbean. Yeah, I was pretty sure multiple people have 12, so you're pretty much always going to have that +1 available for that.
All right. So, merchant by 4 for goods.
Right. So the first one was goods, and the second one was passengers, and I need to make a note of that somewhere. I'm gonna actually.
So do both of those
make a note of that.
both of those count as 2 days? Because if that's the case, I'm just gonna go for cargo.
Okay, so you can do them both at the same time.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna do both of them at the same time, while dragging Randel from bar to bar, or dragging Randel out of each bars.
Okay.
Oh, we're going drinking. We're going to the
Now
bars. All right.
Now the
Well, you're crowded,
this is-
so
Yeah.
assistant rolls are
Aw.
going to apply to separately to each of the things. So if you wanted to do it for the passengers and for the cargo, then you would make 2 different checks for that. And I will go ahead and count that carousing. So which one was that for? Was that for the freight?
Cargo.
Okay, so freight was first, and that's going to be right now a total of 4.
4, yeah.
And passengers is going to be 1.
2. Wait, oh, right. So I guess you have to do another carousing. Do another carousing, Mark.
Party on, dudes.
Nope.
I think I
is that
partied
0?
out.
You might be partied out.
He missed that appointment. All the other merchants.
I was too busy doing this. I got caught up doing this.
Merchant mods. Other merchant
Failing
mods apply.
I was
It-
totally failing at that.
What merchant mods? Just
the ones in the basic book.
so if you have the merchant skill, then you get a +1.
That only applies to
Buy and
reaction.
selling.
Let's see, and I think that's probably it. So I can potentially deal. I'm going to deal with the specifics on that offline, I think.
Okay, that makes sense. We may have potentially got some cargo and potentially some passengers.
The destination for that.
It's over there, over yonder.
So were you doing that for Ilavash or for somewhere else along the way?
Passengers would be Ilavash, because we don't want to say, hey, we're going to take you there, and then next thing we know...
Well, that'd be the same for the freight.
Well...
If you're expecting to change the entire thing after what you found for that, then yeah, Ilavash is as far as you want to go.
So that's probably going to be what we're focusing on.
Okay. That will do.
Ooh, I should have gotten that.
That may end up modifying the roll based on the size of the colony there and other stuff. I'll deal with that offline. That's fine. Okay, what else? So when we did this originally, we had determined that you guys were going to have 8 months worth of money for operating costs. And that is all on the spreadsheet somewhere. But do I need to do anything with that? Probably not. So, at some point, you're probably going to want to start getting into the speculative cargo, because that's way easier than actually getting freight.
Or we'll end up finding just enough treasure to sell it and
give maybe
8 more.
I can tell
We're all
you
gonna
that
die paupers.
Jamaica is like a lot of other colonies around here, and their big export is going to be either sugar or coffee. And if you're going to other Caribbean destinations, they probably don't need sugar or coffee. But you never know. Everybody likes rum. Rum is sugar-based. Molasses, I think, is another one. Now, another thing to consider here, and this is pretty small, is it was common practice at the time for you as a sailor to go buy some stuff to sell somewhere else. So, like, you could go buy a keg of rum or a bunch of bottles of rum, and just to sell at the next port or wherever you can get a decent price for it. Generally, one of the perks of, for example, being a captain on a ship or a ship's master is you get a certain allotment of space for your own personal merchanting.
Yeah, amount based on rank.
Yeah, so it's up to you guys at some point just to put that in your head as a thing that you can do. You might start looking around for things that you could potentially sell somewhere else. And there's a chance that some of your crew guys will come on with their own trade goods. So that was that and the money. So when it comes to the speculative trade, you can pull money out of your 8 months to deal with that. And you can get away with that at the moment, because the plan that we had discussed before was you were recruiting the crew based on a 6-month voyage.
Right.
So technically you had a couple months of overflow as far as your operating costs go.
And if we find fortune and glory, maybe they'll stick around. Or they'll die tragically as we sail through a hurricane.
Now, I am assuming a cost per month for provisioning the ship. But what will be important is how long you intend to go between stops where you are refreshing your provisions. Because, as mentioned before, there's the issue of spoilage and that sort of thing. And you will have to make frequent stops to re-provision, but how frequent is up to you.
This would normally be what the quartermaster would be doing, correct?
There, on a civilian vessel, there's not necessarily a quartermaster. There's just the ship's master, but yes, technically that would be something that there would be a cargo or an officer assigned to that.
Yeah, because I don't think Article has the knowledge of on a boat, on a ship, about when, we really need to do that now. I'm actually not sure if Randel would have that knowledge either. I think everybody else would be more knowledgeable than the two of them.
Well, that would fall under seamanship or ship handling, I imagine. Probably seamanship.
Seamanship would make sense.
I got
if
a
you're
14.
going to make a roll for that, yeah, you guys have got that covered in spades.
Oh, right. I'm an intelligent guy. Gotcha.
I think the trip to Ilavash was going to be about 2 days, so if that's similar to Santo Domingo, then Santo Domingo would be about less than a week. So if you provisioned yourself for a week, then you could make it to Santo Domingo and re-provision there. That would be good enough.
I presume you'd want to double that, if possible.
There is no refrigeration. There is no. If you carry fresh stuff, it's not going to be fresh for a day or two. So there's some give and take there.
Right, but I mean, there's also dried goods that we could take, and we're probably used to sailing and eating dry garbage for a week at a time. So
now, you guys have all sailed enough to know how that works, and obviously when you made the Atlantic crossing, there were no stops, so you had to suck it up for a month.
So so if we provision for a week of fresh and then a week of dry, then that gives us our 2 weeks.
Okay. So we'll call that the baseline.
That's right. We got you doing logistics, Mark.
And with a successful seamanship, Hayden will make sure that the days allotments, in terms of provisions and stuff, are spot on.
Right.
So if we need a week for Santo Domingo or whatever, then it'll be exactly that.
Groovy.
All right. So if we're going to plan on going to Santo Domingo, then you could potentially also get freight passengers for Santo Domingo instead of Ilavash. If you want to add that to the consideration, we'll do that offline. Not important right now.
Yep.
Although, no, I take that back, because if you're trying to save the ability to completely divert after Ilavash,
we generally need to have freight and or passengers only to our next destination, because we may need to go. All right, well, we're not going to go in that direction because the treasure map says go this way.
So if you're leaving that open, then yeah, that's as far as we go. So.
Yep. I'm telling you, we're all going to die paupers.
Okay, so back to the timeline. You guys discussed that last night, so you know what your next destination is and what future destinations are most likely going to be.
All right. And then
During the day,
Randel and Article will spend the next 2 days. Well, he's going to be carousing, and I'm going to be recruiting for cargo and or passengers.
so during the day, while the group is diving in Port Royal for the coin, Hayden and Article were originally on the ship, not doing anything specific. So they could have spent that time ashore dealing with these issues.
Yeah, I guess that's true. In which case you need to reduce my efficacy by 1 on both, since Randall was not available to do the carousing.
Well, now it's a 2-day process baseline, so I'm going to assume
Okay,
day
never
1
mind.
you're advertising, day 2 you do the schmoozing.
Gotcha.
So he will apply to the day 2 part of that. So you guys were both ashore then, handling that?
I see no reason why not.
If that's
And
the
that
case,
that gives Hayden an opportunity to investigate the Indiaman like
That's true.
he wanted to.
that is also true. So, having said that, then you could also start gathering up the crew while you are ashore.
Yep. I gotta find the spider monkey. I mean, night monkey.
So,
So while all that's happening, Hayden will try and arrange a meeting with the captain of the Nijmegen.
you dug into that while you were ashore, and you have gotten the name of the captain is Rolf van der Haar, and they
Bless you.
I know,
They
right?
have come from Curacao and are heading out towards Europe. And aside from that, nobody knows what they're up to. Nobody knows what they're hauling or why they're not letting anybody off the ship. It's not that unusual, so nobody really bothers to ask further. It could be a lot of things. Actually,
What's the political situation between England and Holland at the moment?
so right now they're considered allies. The last war was the War of the Quadruple Alliance, and that was Britain, the provinces, the HRE, and France versus Spain. And historically, except for a few instances, the English and the Dutch have been mostly friendly.
Trade-related incidents.
Well, they've had some slobber knockers in the past, and I think some more in the future, but most of the time they were friendly.
Did you say slobber doctor?
Slobber knocker, yes.
Please tell me
Are
you've
you
heard
not-
that before.
You not familiar with that one?
Nope.
It's like a Donnybrook.
Alright, so Hayden knows that they're destined for Europe. So he will write some letters in relation to his son. His son served on a British ship.
Uh-huh.
So there'll be letters to the Admiralty, requesting information on so and so, whether he's back in Europe, or maybe which ship he was assigned to and stuff like that. Just requesting information.
You had a lot of that already done over the last 6 months. If you had any new information at this point, you're just adding to what knowledge you already had. But yeah, we can deal with that. The postage will cost you a little, unless you send it with a Navy ship.
Well, Hayden's going to
another-
try and meet with the captain, and he'll hand the letters to the captain as a request, if possible.
Okay, I will get back to you on that.
Other than that,
Although,
he will try and meet with the captain, and he's just trying to ascertain, what they're doing here and any news from wherever they came from or where they're going to. Just chit chat, being friendly, developing the social network. Want to add the captain to his Facebook page.
Right.
Actually,
Yeah.
We're back in the 1800s, so it'll be MySpace page.
Do go ahead and make a seamanship check for me, though.
I see what you did there. MySpace.
Okay. So based on your general knowledge of nautical goings on, a ship like that shipping out back to Europe and not letting anybody off and that sort of thing, not having anybody come aboard, it's possible they're just avoiding having to pay tariffs on anything that they're anything in the hold. So it's a fairly common thing, because you're not allowed to unload or load anything until you've paid. Or maybe they just don't want anybody looking.
So anyway, that's Hayden's plan.
Just so you know. Alright, so I'll get back to that. Now, what was the other thing? Completely lost my place.
Mark stole it. He was being a jerk.
I hate it when he does that.
That's what I do.
Now I can't bloody remember. So that was day one.
In day 2, I get Randel and do some
Oh, crew.
stuffs.
That's what it was. Okay, so also during your arrangements, you start going around town, finding all the guys that you had previously recruited, and letting them know that A, we have a destination, and B, we're about ready to get to it. So get your shat gathered up and get it to the boat. And I will introduce you to your guys. These are the fine folks that you have recruited to join you on your voyage.
Red shirt.
Wait, he's
Yeah.
gonna say freeze program at any point now.
So, all of your guys here are British of some sort or another. Isaac Bold is from London. Henry's from Surrey, I think it was. Robert and Ollie are both Scots, and Thomas is Welsh. The only weird one is Red, who's from Charleston in South Carolina. So he's a colonist, but he's still British subject.
For now.
Damn colonials.
Henry and Red are your landsmen, so they're trainees. Ollie is the ordinary seaman, and Isaac, Robert, and Thomas are your able seamen, so they're the experienced ones.
Cool.
Thomas is the one that Rogers recruited that was in a spot of trouble and agreed to get paid less for his better skills.
I don't know if I trust him. He might be a spellcaster.
And Mr. Bold is one that Davino talked to about guns.
Mr. Bold.
And so they will generally start making their way over to the ship and getting themselves acquainted.
You need to update this graphic with their role.
Well, their role hasn't actually been decided yet. Another point is Robert Mogridge is one that Hayden talked to about seamanship, and he clearly knows his stuff. He is a veteran sailor. Actually was in the Navy as well.
He knows these waters better than he knows his own name.
He knows these waters quite well, actually. Although he knows his name well.
I have a name.
Now, at some point, and I'm not going to do that right now either, we will end up deciding what their actual positions on the ship will be, but that's going to be your call.
Shit kickers 1 through 6.
Even if that call is generic. So,
Sailor 1, Sailor 2.
So what they were told by our previous agreement was that it was going to be a 6-month voyage. They were getting paid an amount that we decided, and I don't remember what it was. And they were going to get some up front, I believe, and the rest to be paid at the end, which is a pretty standard arrangement. And you guys will have drawn up the ship's articles, and they will all go aboard the ship and sign onto the articles, officially becoming part of the crew.
How many of them draw an X?
Born one. Let's see.
Hark.
Another. Well. Okay. At the end of the day, is anybody doing anything? So you take basically the whole better part of the day diving out there looking for the coin. You finally found it, and you've got some daylight left before. And the second question after what are you doing for the rest of the day is, are you going back to sleep on the ship again? Actually, probably, if you're going to do that, you probably should go ahead and clear out of the boarding house. Or wherever
Well, I
else
was
you were
completely
staying.
broke, so I figure I have definitely cleared out and am definitely on the boat.
There's probably a lot of work for the crew to do to get settled in and get things prepared to travel to, so
I'm on a boat, yo.
we'll
I'll
need
probably
to
do the
oversee and help with that.
being a workaholic, Hayden will be on the ship, making sure that everything's going to plan, everything's organised, and he'll do that just before he's exhausted and goes to sleep.
I'll just be assisting Hayden then.
And Hayden was staying on the ship anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys don't have any specific plans then.
Nope.
So for Hayden's purpose, what do you think that would be to find that captain?
I think it'd be pretty simple, wouldn't it? You just send somebody over there. My compliments to the captain, and it's a.
Oh, you mean actually
well,
going over to the ship?
Occurs to me, yeah, that's. I was about to say you don't want to invite yourself to dinner or anything like that.
No, Hayden would just be requesting to meet with the captain. No particular.
Yeah, but the question here
things.
is how do you find him?
Well, I assume that he's on board the ship, and in my, asking around, I'd ask, is the captain staying on board the ship, or has he come ashore? And if he's come ashore, then Hayden will check the usual places, hotels.
Stalker.
So you're gonna run around town asking around.
It depends if the captain's on the ship.
Hitting up the hotels and stuff to see if he's there. Because your experience is, if anybody is getting off the ship, it's the captain.
Alright, and it's been already verified that no one's leaving the ship.
Now, like I said, you've seen them actually start moving supplies there toward the latter part of the day. So, but generally speaking, they have not left the ship.
So he'll intercept one of the supply boats just before they push off. He will then, ask if the captain is still on board, and if the captain is, he'll say, please deliver this message that. Former Commander John Hayden would like to speak with the captain.
Okay, in that case, give me a reaction roll or suitable influence skill.
I shall substitute savoir-faire military.
Well, now that's a civilian vessel, so military wouldn't be appropriate.
Is this to get the message to the captain?
Well, this is basically getting the meeting with the captain. Is he going to actually take a meeting with you or not?
Do you have a reputation or anything, Brian?
Did he? I don't remember.
Oh, he's got born sailor and stuff like that, though. So
yeah, he has to actually demonstrate that, though.
Leadership is an influence skill, is it not?
Don't think that's appropriate here. Unless you can explain that.
Wait, you said why wouldn't savoir-faire military be appropriate here?
Because the captain isn't military.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
He's a
commercial
civilian.
ship.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was laboring under a different presumption.
Well, it does kind of look like a warship, which is one of the reasons why it's
well, to be
interesting.
fair, based off of the stuff that I've read in the Aubrey Maturin stuff, the civilian captains love military captains. They love fawning over them and showing that their ships are as good as the actual Navy ships are.
Oh yeah, I remember the Spanish captains would have uniforms made for themselves that weren't military uniforms.
Yeah,
but looked
because I can remember at least
forgot about that.
2 books where he was dealing with the Dutch Indies guys and stuff like that, and they're just, hey, well, yeah, we're just as good as you are, and he's looking around going, no, you're not. That's
Well,
wrong. That's wrong.
that may
That's
be the
wrong.
case
That's
here.
wrong.
I can factor that in.
Worth a try.
Other than that, I've only got diplomacy, so I can roll diplomacy for a good reaction.
That'll work. Wow, that's not bad. And given a bonus for potential novelty. Let me think here. Okay.
They're Dutch, you said?
They are Dutch.
The invitation, if the captain accepts the invitation to, meet, then Hayden will invite Rogers if he so wishes to.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
I'll go with.
Makes
Okay,
sense, 'cause
well,
I'm
now we're
apparently
still...
dragging dragging Randel out of a bar, and he's all caroused out.
Okay, so that would mean that you were catching him later in the day, so Rogers is drying out.
Oh. Yeah, your timeline's terrible, Daniel. I keep trying to remember whether we're on day 1 or day 2. Keep bouncing around on me.
I'm wondering how I could track that better so everybody could see it.
I feel like
Maybe
I'm
I need
watching Witcher season 1 again.
I need a graphic for the timeline.
Yeah, that broke my brain, The Witcher.
Not
I
getting
am
into
very pleased to say that I picked up on it very, very, very early, but
I think I did as well, but Phil was watching at the same time and he actually mentioned it. So it's did I actually arrive to that on my own, or did he say it first?
I think I was around about halfway through it that I started to realise, this is not linear.
At any rate, so you catch
Spoiler alert.
one of the crews as they are doing their cargo run, and
this is day 1?
this is still day 1.
Okay, so I will probably be with Hayden at that point, and
Yes.
if these guys are Dutch, I can at least speak to them in Dutch
That's true.
to relate his request.
So Article is acting as translator for Hayden and request that let them know that you wanted to get a meeting with the captain, and they will send word, and eventually later in the day the captain will come along with one of the trips and will actually meet you at the docks. And through the translator, he asked what it is that you wanted to talk about.
Prior to the meeting, Hayden will go and source a bottle of wine.
Brilliant.
Okay. Do you have money?
Yes, now that I didn't have to spend $500 on a spyglass, I do.
You didn't? Why didn't you have to spend that?
Because you said spyglasses only cost $100 instead of the $500.
Oh, right.
So that makes
All right.
sense.
Well, so you meet him, you present him with some wine, and he asks you what it is that you wanted to speak about.
Well, I tell him that it is just a friendly meet. Wish to meet the captain of. Does the ship look?
Such a very fine vessel.
Does the ship look fine, or is it a piece of shit? Is it a Millennium Falcon or is it a Naboo starfighter?
More of a Maersk, Alabama. I don't know what that would be in Star Wars.
Then, well, he'll still say fine ship.
Corporate vessel. It is actually. Although it's an East Indiaman, the colors it's flying are for the West India Company. And,
Blockade runner.
Chances are this is it's meant for the triangle trade, so it will have come here with slaves and then traded the slaves for sugar or whatever and be heading back to Europe for goods. And it is a corporately owned vessel, and he's just a hired help.
Does the captain speak English, or is it all happening through article?
He speaks some English. It's not great, but you can pass, and with article helping out, communication occurs.
So, like I said, it's just a social visit. It's more to find out, build his social network. He wants to know who's who in ships and put faces to captains and all that sort of stuff.
So you're
basically
networking.
To me.
And then he'll also, relay that he understands that the ship's heading to Europe, and he requests that the captain take some letters as well.
Okay, so after your initial meeting, he'll agree to meet you at an inn or at the hotel, probably that he's staying at the tavern or whatnot, and you guys can discuss the particulars. He is agreeable.
It is a very big ship too, isn't it?
It is. It is freaking huge. Now, Hayden has probably seen a first rate before, and it's at least that big. Maybe second rate.
Is he familiar with the design of ship, or that particular build of ship?
Hayden?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's seen those all over the place. Now Hayden hasn't actually served in the East. Rogers would actually know more. He's actually been on them.
An Indiaman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he probably went around the horn on one.
And that's not a euphemism.
No, it isn't. So
Well, it might also be a euphemism.
It could be. So you guys will do drinks in the evening, and he won't tell you a whole lot, but he'll give you the basics at least. That he's company man. They do this run all the time, and bearing in mind it is unusual that it's an East Indiaman in the Caribbean. It just happened to work out that way.
So there's nothing unusual about it after the captain explaining it?
Yeah. It sounds like just a business thing, like that's just the company got a good deal on an East Indiaman and they decided to put it to use, and that's kind of how that goes. And they are not headed to England. They are headed to different ports in the provinces.
Well, I imagine drafting several copies of the same letter is the norm for stuff like that. So, he's just trying to find out information, so he'd send these letters around.
I think standard practice in a case like that is he can always pass him off to a ship that is going to England. He'll be headed in the right direction. And,
yes, that is based off of my understanding, at least from the 1800s books.
Yeah, so they'll get there if you send them with him.
Eventually.
Unless he sucks.
Does he have any relevant news that may impact the things that we're doing?
I would consider it a suitable refreshing of your current affairs, whatever you have. He'll do some a little bit of politics.
Current affairs.
Complain about France.
That's one I need to get.
Complain about France. Yeah.
Let's see. I don't know if anything is going on right now politically that would be of interest. Let's see. Headline news.
What is that skill that would be current affairs political?
Politics.
I'll be adding that as one of my grace period skills.
He'll talk a little bit about the succession of Philip V to the throne of France, which was several months back. So this may actually be news to you, that the King of France died. Or Spain, excuse me.
And I assume that we're moderately pleased with that?
It's a thing. Spain is the bad guy for the most part, as far as you guys are concerned, so anything bad that happens to them is probably good for you. But since it's a new guy, you don't know what sort of policy effect he'll have.
And any news about dangers, pirate activity around the locations that we're headed?
He knows that there have been some pirate stuff around here, and you're actually aware of some of the stuff that's involved around Jamaica. There are a few pirates still hanging around that haven't been caught yet. Actually, you may have known the captain or some crew on the Diamond, which is a fifth-rate operating out of Jamaica, that was sent after, I think it's Spriggs, some couple of known pirates that are privateers for the Spanish. They're trying to chase him down. But yeah, this guy's they're sailing without escort because frankly they don't fear the pirates right now all that much. Seem like most of them are hanging outside of Port Royal.
And the thing is a warship anyway.
And it's practically a warship, so they got a lot of guns, and they fear little.
Man, it'd kick the living crap out of us.
Just one of their guns would kick the crap out of you.
It would be a short fight.
It depends if they have people that can use the guns.
And
but yeah,
if we didn't sneak up and board them while they were all sleeping.
And the last thing that Hayden will talk about, he'll ask the captain if the captain has heard of his son. So, have you heard? What was my son's name?
Matthew Sumner.
I'm not sure, sir.
Sumner. Matthew Sumner. And the ship he
He'll
was
ask.
on was the Cardinal Virtue.
So
And,
he'll ask
yeah,
if he's
doesn't,
heard any
he
of those.
doesn't know anything. But he says if he hears anything, he'll write back maybe.
Much appreciated, Captain.
And aside from all that, the basics you get are they're just provisioning up here and they're leaving as soon as they're done with that. So they'll probably be leaving late tomorrow with the afternoon tide, and yeah, headed back to Europe.
All right. Well, with that, he'll just send a friend request and end the evening and wish the captain a safe journey.
And
Did
he will
you
wish
say
you
a
the
friend
same?
request?
Yeah.
Yeah, he sent a friend request.
Jesus Christ.
Where's MySpace page?
And that will basically be the majority of day 2. Now, did everybody else, after the dive, did you guys go straight back to the ship, or did you guys go ashore and do stuff?
I probably just would have stayed on the ship.
Same.
And what is Payne doing with the coin?
I was about to say, since we found
he's
what we
keeping
were
it
looking
on
for, he'd probably
himself.
want to go back.
That or, well, if Palangi's going back to the ship, I might give it to Palangi to hold on, to put in my cabin or bunk or, secure it on himself until I get,
The
get
monkey's
back.
gonna steal it.
Oh, hell.
Hayden did eventually find his hat.
I guess I'm...
It was in Claude's
How bad
bed,
are
wasn't it?
pickpockets around here? I'm not going partying with the stupid thing. I'm giving it to Palangi to hold on to. Keep it secure, keep it safe.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Keep it secret.
That's a lot
keep
of
it safe.
That's a lot of trust for a non-Brit.
Palangi's a good guy.
You could just leave it in the ship's locker.
We have that.
So how does this thing work?
Yeah, well, I guess we did go back to the boat, straight away, and then went off to shore
Well,
since
you
I
could
had to
do
pick
that,
up
yeah.
article. So yeah, because I had to pick up article to go.
If you want to
change
secure it in
clothes
the
and-
ship, you can secure it in the ship
It's secure
somewhere.
to the ship.
And maybe your sea chest and have it firmly and positively locked.
So how does the coin thing work? We have
we
to
gotta
take
get
it to the
Elavash.
someplace.
Yeah, there's a place in Ilavash that he has to take it to, and it'll get him the next clue.
Gotcha. We
He's-
are in a
he's got his
JJ
plot
when you start.
coupon.
It's the Goonies, man.
It's time-honored
Right.
tradition of plot coupons.
Okay. Yeah. Get our crew.
Right.
Get our stuff. Get out of town. Holy crap.
Then day 3. So day 2, you guys have started getting the crew on there. You can actually enlist the crew in the watches, and so you guys will be. So everybody was sleeping on the ship again.
Yep.
Pretty much
Sounds
done
like
with the
it.
boarding houses. I think that was the case.
Yep.
Okay, so night passes. Nothing eventful. Wednesday, January the 3rd, 1725. And on Wednesday, you guys are schmoozing with the merchants and gathering up passengers and freight for Ilavash, which we will determine the specifics of later, but I know that Randel was going to be helping out with that by partying some more.
Yep.
I don't believe it's Wednesday because you haven't updated the calendar.
Yep.
Fine.
It still feels like a Monday.
Okay, now it's Wednesday.
And it hasn't been put into chat.
So I suspect the terminal illness is getting worse for Mr. Hayden.
He's had a couple of coughing fits yet, but we haven't hit the 1 month.
I don't know, but if he keeps giving crap to you, then I figure it's like, oh dear, you died.
Maybe
Well,
it's
the
better
climate
that
here
it
isn't
stays
the
a Monday, though, in that regard.
Okay, so the things to do for day 3 is loading up the provisions, loading up the freight if there ends up being any, gathering up the passengers and getting that. The crew finishes moving their crap. A couple of notable incidents during the day. At some point during the loading process, because you guys already know that Davino is pretty good with managing cargo, so you got him supervising that. And at the docks, while you're getting the cockboat loaded up to move some more supplies out to the ship. Actually, you probably go ahead and pull a ship in to the pier for that. It's small enough you can do it. And Davino will see a familiar face approaching him at the docks, that of the servant of the priest, who you know as Jacob.
Oh yeah, that guy.
And he approaches and greets you.
He's the
And
guy who murdered him. That's the man right there. Shot him
And,
in cold blood.
wonders if he could have a word with you.
What was the language that I don't know? Also, really quickly, is Rogers around there when he sees that dude approaching?
I don't know. What would work better for you?
No, because I was like, what was the language that he heard the possessed dude speaking?
Pluses,
Venetian.
yes.
Was it Venetian? Because I totally need to start grumbling in Venetian just randomly.
But see, I didn't even know it was Venetian because I only speak English.
He might have thought it was something Italianish.
Yeah, probably so, actually.
Alright, so, Davino, the servant is asking for a word. I presume you're gonna go.
Yep.
So, he will tell you that he has salted and burned the body of Father Hawkins and buried him on
Right?
and buried him on
Is he out of pepper?
on consecrated ground
After
there
I
at
broke
the
his
church.
legs and decapitated him.
So you need not worry about any potential
come out no more.
repercussions. And he will tell you that Father Hawkins is a hunter, he says, with the you can hear the capital letter H. There's a small community of hunters that they seek out and destroy supernatural threats to mankind. And the gun that you have was built for them. The original creator of the gun was a hunter.
Wow, that's his reaction. I'm going to step carefully away from the crazy person.
Well, he still thinks they're crazy, but he's also curious. He's gonna just stay and listen, though not necessarily.
Ask him questions
much.
about it. I mean, you're curious. Oh yeah, who are these guys? How long have they been around? But
How do I become a hunter?
yeah, how does one become a hunter? Not necessarily I, but how does one?
Asking for a friend.
Legitimate curiosity.
Sure, I'll ask for a bit more info about the hunters and such.
Curious minds want to know.
Well, in general, he will tell you that they have been around a really long time. Some of them are families. So an entire family might be professionally hunters like that and pass down that responsibility, if you want to call it that. In fact, the last owners of the gun were one such family, although he does not know who they were. He knows that and he'll tell you that because of the nature of the gun, that hunters may come looking for it because they think it belongs to them or that they deserve to have it or some such. It's possible not all hunters are good people, I think is the point there. On the other hand, there could be supernatural creatures of many sorts who would want the gun for themselves to either keep it from the hunters or to use it for their own means. So it's probably a good idea to keep a very close eye on that thing and expect trouble.
Okay. And something tells me that words out there, it's just, something tells me that if I were to become a hunter as well, they would still try because reasons, eh?
They can get competitive.
Now, what do they hunt? I mean, that's a good question. I don't think that really came up.
Yeah, so the supernatural stuff.
Oh,
but,
that's right. It did.
Yeah.
He did say that, didn't he?
Yep.
Well, if you don't have anything else there, then he will hand you the bag, a small bag that contains the remainder of the silver shot.
Oh, I thought he already gave us that.
He gave us one bag, but this is the second bag.
Oh.
And then something tells me
I wasn't sure I actually gave you that or whatever.
I'm pretty sure you had, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Congratulations, you found a duping bug in the game.
Sweet.
Quick, ask him another question and see if he's going to give you another bag.
Can I reset the dialogue and just go through the conversation again?
Yeah, escape out before it's
No, you can't.
and then restart again.
It's Iron Man. There's no save and come
There's
back.
a way to get around that.
But I suppose the
Find another
process of
possessed
making
priest.
these is a little more than just pouring silver into a ball and carving a symbol on them, huh?
he doesn't know the specifics about it because it wasn't their gun. So,
Do you know who might know?
the previous owners, for example, the family that had passed that gun down, would probably be the ones to know the details. As far as he knows, the shot that is in that bag, that's all there is. There are rumors that they were actually forged from the 30 pieces of silver for Judas, but he doesn't necessarily believe that. For the record, they are 106 caliber shot, so 4 to a pound. Well, that's 4 to a pound of lead, though. These are silver. I don't know what
How
the weight
much
difference
damage
is.
does one of those do?
From that gun, it's like 5D something.
Well,
If it's the
damn,
if it's the
he
same
hits
caliber
it,
as
it's gonna kill it.
yeah, if
It
it's the
depends
same
on what it
caliber
is.
as my normal rounds. My normal rounds are 5D plus 1 PI plus plus.
Good God.
I know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, well, if you looked at the picture, you see how big the damn thing is. It's a friggin' tree trunk. Right. So there are 14 rounds. Wait a minute. It was 30 shot. It was 30 shot, and one of them is used. I think it came to like 7.5 pounds if it was lead. So it's fairly heavy, and that's a lot of silver.
Yeah.
So technically, it's a bag of money.
Yeah.
So having said all that, he will say that he is off on the next. He's got a ship already, and he's headed out on the tide back to England.
It's gonna be the Indiaman, isn't it?
It is not the Indiaman.
Oh,
And he will likely never see you again. And he wishes you well.
he's actually
Oh,
kind of
how's it
hoping he never sees you again because he's sort of your Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you know what happens to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that'll be that. In other news, ironically, during the day, while you're doing your running about and merchanting and stuff, Payne gets cornered by what turns out to be a reporter for the weekly Jamaica Courant, who wants to know about Billy.
Oh God.
He was a good man. Good and is, a great party guy, a friend of many.
You know he was alive once.
He was alive at one point, and he knew how to live when he lived.
The reporter was specifically asking about the circumstances surrounding Billy's death, not so much an obituary, but that's useful as well.
Tell him you don't
Apparently
know anything about his
died?
circumcision.
His death.
Stabbed
It
sounds
happened.
like in a place. I think it was a bar. The Night Watch was involved.
So you don't have a whole lot to add.
No,
I was a friend of Billy.
no, I
You
won't even
caught
add
me
that.
when you killed. No, wait. Wrong thing. He's not Jameis.
I don't volunteer any kind of connection to Billy, nor do I volunteer any other things about Billy other
Very
than
well. And Payne will also notice that the La Dame Blanche seems to also be fitting out for a voyage, to no one's surprise.
Out looked at articles like, that Frenchman can't beat me to that the treasure.
What are we talking about now? I wasn't paying attention.
I point to the La Dame Blanche.
Yep, that's
Maurice
a boat.
and his Maurice and that whore of a ship of his. We can't let him get to the to Morgan's treasure first. We have to speed this thing along.
It will be ready when it's ready, sir.
You don't call me Sir Article.
Very
Save
good,
that
sir.
for Hayden. Damn it. We're friends, Article. You're not my
You're a
employee.
knight. You're a sir.
How so formal
He forgets
you are.
that sometimes.
Yeah, I'm the third son. Come on, you know this. I'm hardly a sir. But anyway, as I
And
say,
I promptly flash back to all of the times that he introduced himself to women as Sir Randel.
well, but yeah, that's because, well,
Okay.
Rip off first Pirates of the Caribbean, where if you're like, how many times do I have to tell you, stop calling me that? At least once more, sir.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, we don't need to do that. Anybody else got anything to do? Any last minute? So, okay, back up. By the end of the day, the end of the business day, I suppose, if you want to call it that, provisions will have been transferred. The crew will be there. Everybody will have cleared out of the boarding houses. Basically, you'll be ready to go.
Is everything properly stowed and all?
Right.
Okay, good.
So, at that point, when do you intend to leave? Leave in the morning?
That's
with the tides.
normally when it goes out, yeah.
Let's see. So the land breeze goes out in the morning. No, wait. No, sea breeze in the morning. So the winds are against you. Let's see. When do the tides go? So the tides are going out. Okay, so the tides come back in about noonish and then recede out till about 1300 or 1500, excuse me. So in the morning after sunup, the tides will be coming in, and they would go back out afternoon.
Well,
I don't know
then I
what that
guess
means.
that's
I have
when
no
we'll go. We'll go with the outgoing tide.
So Phil,
Okay.
we leave when the tide goes out so that the water helps us along.
Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. Yeah, I'm have to remind myself all this stuff too. Okay, so if that's going to be the case, then you guys stay the night on the ship and be ready to leave afternoon.
Hark!
So, overnight, watches.
I will not take a watch.
You will not take a watch?
Nope. I own this boat, and I got a crew on board.
It's true, you have a crew now.
As per standard, there'll be one crewman on watch with one officer.
Do you consider all the PCs officers?
Nope.
Well, who are the officers then?
The officers would be Rogers, Randel, Hayden, and probably not Article since he's the doctor. But
well, Randel has taken himself out of that rotation.
then it'll be Rogers and Hayden. And I guess we'll have to get a third. So that'll be the next most senior.
Well, Article has no problem doing it. He's just not
Nautical.
super experienced. Well, he's got seamanship and stuff like that, but
If Article was on a naval vessel, he'd probably be a warrant officer.
Then Article can take a watch.
Do they take watches? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Possibly. Guess there's no reason you can't just take a watch anyway, but if you consider yourself a quasi-officer, and you could potentially make Davino an officer of some kind. This is a civilian ship, you can organize it however the hell you want.
Well, then it'll be up to Davino or Article as to who wants to be the officer on the watch.
Well, if you do it that way, minus Randel, then you've got 4, so that'll get you through the night in 2-hour shifts.
Cool.
All right.
With
1, 2, 3,
Articles
4.
Are the with Hayden the slacker? Not Hayden. Randel the slacker.
All right. Let's see. Which shift are we going to be on?
I don't want it to happen on my shift.
Well, that's good for you. I need a perception or observation, if that's better.
From whom?
From Article.
But I didn't want it to be on mine. Were you listening?
Like I said, that's very nice of you to not want that, but by the by. Okay. And do I need to do anything else? Okay. Alright, so you are on the last shift. And it is it was a full moon, or mostly full, waning. So it's dark. It's not that dark though. And actually relatively pleasant. Sometime during the shift that you're on, you happen to notice a floating object out in the water about
What sort of
30 yards out,
floating
maybe?
object?
Well, initially you would have called that a barrel or something.
Well,
like
I'm
a
gonna
small keg.
ask the crew person who's also on watch if they know what the heck that is.
Who's on watch with you? We got 6.
I'm gonna be really upset. This is a barrel full of gunpowder. It's meant to,
It's a
Save
barrel
yourself.
full of gunpowder meant to blow up.
You happen to be pulling watch with Mr. Bold, and he looks out there and he says, "That looks like a
Barrel full of gunpowder?
keg, flotsam maybe. Wait, there's something moving on it. I think." And there seems to be a person attached to that barrel. Actually, 2 persons. And it's also approaching.
Well, I don't know how you react to that.
Mr. Bold also comments about your excellent vision. He wouldn't have caught that.
Luck was on my side. So let's see. It's approaching. I suppose we should probably call out to it to identify them, and if they start wigging out, then we definitely raise the alarm.
Okay. So you call out.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So at that, whoever it is, does not approach any closer. Although they're still moving around a bit over there, you're not sure what they're doing.
Right. So this is striking him as extremely suspicious. So he's going to start rousing the crew.
All right.
Oh, Lydia, you know just how I. Whoa, what article? What the heck, man?
That's gonna take a minute or two to get everybody out of bed, and they start piling back out on deck. In the meantime, you'll see. Looks like one of however many people it was out there starts splashing back towards shore, abandoning the barrel. You don't see the other one, but you do see what appears to be a light. Probably somebody with more experience would immediately call that a slow match.
Yes. And Article does not have that level of experience with sailing.
But he would say there's a fire of some sort. It's very small.
Hey, there seems to be some sort of small fire out there.
I'm sure Mr. Bold would definitely identify that.
That's true. He would. Yeah, he's going. That's totally a slow match.
Yeah,
That's
it's just
totally a bomb.
glow. It's super slow burning fuse, essentially.
He says, "Somebody fetch a gun."
Let's see. Let me look at my stuff here. No, I'm gonna go into the water. Intentionally into the water with intent on getting over, swimming over there and ending, or pulling the stopping the slow match.
Okay. That's interesting. So, all right. I need the
Wait, I
swimming
thought I had
roll.
the Daredevil.
Well, you're
plus
taking
4.
too long to get your ass out of bed.
I'm moving.
He's
Hey,
getting
there's
there.
something in the water. I'm
You can
getting
daredevil
there.
later. So you'll make a swimming roll plus 4 for entering the water intentionally.
Yeah. So once he identifies that and he's like, "Oh, we need a gun," I'm like, "Yeah, that's gonna probably take us too long," and go into there. Let's see. Okay, that should be fine.
Wow. Okay, he's a good swimmer.
I had to do that awesome dive thing, right over the side, not kicking it over there.
Would you like to fire off a use of serendipity here?
I would, yes.
Okay. Serendipitously, as you dive over the side, feet first, I imagine.
Oh hell no! It's going into the
you're
water.
gonna-
He has to.
Okay.
He's gonna have to actually do a dive because that looks cooler.
You dive, and as you are coming up, you bump into a guy and smack him right in the face with your fingers. And you hear the air go out of his lungs as he's probably howling in pain, only it's underwater. Everybody above deck see the barrel that was sort of approaching suddenly stop approaching and bob up and down.
So we're all on the deck at this point.
Oh,
Yeah, everybody's
barrels.
kind of climbing out there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought you said the barrel's on deck. I'm like, no,
No, the barrel's not on deck. It's still out in
Yeah,
the water.
the barrel magically appeared on deck. It is a teleporting barrel.
So it's still about 10 yards out. Yeah, maybe 15. More like 15. So a fair distance. So
Yeah,
Article,
correct.
once you gouge somebody's eye, you keep going toward the barrel, or you do something there.
Yes. Yeah, probably still going toward the. Well, I don't know. Hit the dude. Looking or. I don't want to look around. If I can identify or find the dude, if he's like dragging a rope or something like that, I want to like maybe pull the rope from him. But I don't want to get into a fight while I have a whopping 12 swim, because that's not super great.
As it happens, as you gouged him in the eye, you kind of tangled onto the rope a little. He was in fact pulling a rope, and you now have it and can't actually release it.
Said I can't.
Like you would have to actually pull your arm out of it.
Yank him. Maybe try to get it away from him.
So you're swimming away from him.
While continuing toward the water or the barrel.
Okay, well, long story short, there, you gouged him in the eye, so he's kind of stunned for a second while you get some distance between you and him, and you're definitely able to reach the barrel before he gets it.
Then I'm gonna pop up and realize I have no idea how to stop this slow match thing.
Well, it's fire.
Yeah, so other than splashing water on it.
You just roll the keg over until the match is in the water.
Yeah,
I
you
could
just
do
cut
that.
it if you have a knife.
Or pull it out.
Or pull it out. There's a number of things you could do there. He douses the wick.
While calling out, There seems to be a fellow in the water. I ran into him.
Meanwhile, everybody that was on deck saw the splash of Article going in, saw Article swimming out to the barrel, while another fellow was sort of thrashing about on the surface and
Also,
screaming in pain.
I didn't quite think this through.
There's totally sharks.
There appears to be sharks.
So, anybody on deck doing anything at this point?
Get something to throw out to Article to help him up.
Totally
throw him
going,
ropes.
Why
and
did you
stuff.
go into the water, dummy?
Well, I'm thinking that, but
Is our crew up as well?
Oh yeah, everybody's up.
Some of them would be, at least.
yeah, get him out of the water.
And it's clear to all of us that, that's a floating bomb out in the water, right?
Well, you don't know what it is, but it had fire on it.
Past tense.
One could presume it was a bomb.
All right. Hayden will be quickly instructing the crew, Mr. Hooper, Furlong, and McNeil, check the hull around the ship. Check the waterline.
Well, they jumped to it. And Bold goes back and grabs a couple of lanterns out from below. Or lamps, excuse me. It's not a whole lot of help, but it's something.
He'll move to the railing and he'll point to the guy that Article run into and he'll say, and fish that man out of the water.
That man is attempting to swim away. So he's too far away for anybody to grab at him.
Take the cockboat.
I was about to say, lower the boat. Man the boat, lower the boat.
Did you actually raise the boat?
Yes. You don't just leave it sitting in the water when you're not using it.
Well, but you guys weren't leaving until the afternoon, so you could have left it down, but everybody was
we may
here,
still be using
so...
it.
Well, no, this is in the middle of the night, so you wouldn't have been using it, but yeah, you probably pulled it in. So it'll take a bit to lower the boat.
Yeah, it wouldn't sit overnight. I still like our chances of catching him rowing with him
Just
swimming.
jump
into the
boat. Just jump into the boat, do the thing so it goes, and you slide down really fast into the water, and boom. Make sure to activate your outboard motor.
Okay, so you guys do the boat. You do the operation to lower the boat. And
while that's being done, Hayden will say, "Any of you here strong swimmers?" And he's referring to the crew.
The only one of the NPC crew that would raise their hand to that would be Bold.
Bold, in the water, and after Mr. Bold, in the water, and after that man.
Could also send Davino, because Davino is an awesome swimmer.
This is true. Davino is probably a better option. After that man, stay with him and call out so that our people in the boat can see where you are. Or hear where you are.
Who shall be in the boat?
I'll go into the boat because I'm going to go try and pull Article out of the water too.
I say, should I stay with this bomb?
You might want to get some distance from it, good man.
But I pulled the thing.
It won't take some kind of sniper to shoot it and cause it to explode, I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't think. You may not want to be too close if they're really just wanting to get rid of it.
That wouldn't be
So
very sporting.
are you stopping the boat to pick up Article before you get the other guy?
Article's fine. He can start swimming towards the ship.
Well, if he gets to the ship, or I mean, we'll be getting in the boat. I don't know.
Yeah,
probably
it's going
around
to take.
The same time.
Article's probably going to make it back to the ship before
Actually,
you guys
I
finish
might not
launching.
go back to the ship. I may,
or just
swim a little bit further
Yeah.
away while dragging the thing, just in case.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
hey, who knows? If it's stacked with gunpowder, maybe we can salvage it after this.
Okay. I will take a perception from the folk in the boat.
One second.
And apparently that's not going to be any trouble.
Carry on then. I'm having to text somebody back.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hayden's on it. So, you, without too much difficulty, you were able to spot the guy swimming away, even though he was trying to not be seen by going under a few times here and there. He's trying to be clever, but he's not that clever. And you guys will catch up to him at some distance from the boat, or from the ship. What will you do then?
What's the guy's situation in relation to the boat?
He's swimming, so ahead of it, I guess. You're catching him up.
Are we gaining on him? Yeah, we are. Okay, good.
Oh yeah, you are caught up to him. You will catch him. That boat's going to go way faster than he can swim.
I'll say, you in the water, prepare to come aboard.
Dunk him in the head with the oar.
Yeah, one way or the other.
All right. Well, he is. He's not going to be able to get away from that too easily. So he's pretty
Especially
stuffed.
when people brandish firearms that we took from other attackers.
Well, but those are not loaded.
He doesn't know that.
That is true.
I only have my cutlass, but I've also got this big heavy oar.
Yeah, the cutlass is enough. But the oar is enough too. If you smack somebody in the back of the head with that, that's definitely going to hurt. All right, so he will in fact surrender.
All right, we'll drag him into the boat and keep him at sword point and row back to the ship.
You swing by and grab me on the way back.
I mean, if Hayden wants to.
Where'd my doctor go? I don't know. He swam off with that bomb. What a weird doctor.
Or was it Payne who was in the boat with me?
Payne was
Payne.
there.
I lost track.
There's pain.
Okay.
Hayden wasn't in the boat
wasn't
when he
sure.
was making the roll. I did say whoever was in the boat. Never mind.
Oh well. Sorry, I was distracted for a minute.
That perception roll, was for Rogers.
Much appreciated.
There you go. Problem solved. All right, so he surrenders. You take him back to the ship.
Yes.
And I think it's not a stretch of my imagination to presume that you question him there.
Yeah, I wasn't going to ask him any questions before we got there because I wanted everybody to be able to hear his answers.
Word.
Unless he just starts talking in the boat, in which case I will listen to him.
I'm sorry. Please don't kill me. I was paid too much money. It's that Randel guy. He's the person we really want.
In fact,
So-
he strapped all this explosive on me. Oh.
So to make that long story short, two things. One, the barrel was full of what you presume to be lamp oil.
Hey, we got a barrel of lamp oil, guys.
Did the others report back on the state of the waterline around the ship?
They detected no further tampering. It did take a while and some effort. And also from the prisoner, you determined that, quote unquote, the man at the docks offered a substantial bounty to set fire to the ship. This and the other one.
Which other one?
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
And then we're gonna glance and see the Indiaman catch on fire.
No, we're
I
going to
was
see
thinking
the
it'd be the
white, the white lady.
the white lady. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
You would actually note at that point that La Dame Blanche, there is some gunfire sounding from that direction.
Sounds like they're having an exciting evening as well.
Well,
And a bit of a fire starting out that direction, although it looks to be at the water.
Yeah, so
that
this guy
occurs
visited
after the
us
gunfire.
second.
Don't.
We're gonna have to turn this clown in, because he set fire to that ship over there.
Did
probably
the
be paid.
guy have to go back for payment, or has he already been paid?
He has not been paid yet. That was upon completion.
What did the guy on the dock look like? He was totally. What was the dead guy? Was it Billy?
Yeah.
It's totally Billy, wasn't it?
Gentlemen,
It
I
doesn't
propose
sound
we
like
take
Billy.
him. I propose we take him to collect his payment and find out who's behind this.
Agreed.
And then we take the payment.
Also agreed.
So, do you guys want me to keep swimming with this barrel?
We've already collected the barrel.
I know. I'm
Just a little bit longer.
We don't know whether we've collected article, though.
Well, I guess it depends on how much he's annoyed you so far.
Yeah, because I was
he's
leaving.
been
probably
pretty
forgotten
helpful.
why he's swimming in there. As absent-minded as he is.
Actually-
I wouldn't go that far.
You're assuming he's been helpful because he's doing all the books and you have no idea. He could be
I'll explain
completely
him to
screwing
you.
you all.
He's more good to us alive than dead.
He's kind of like my friend.
But with the gunfire and the fire starting, we'll call that the wrap. Cut to black. Cue the music. Roll the credits.
Cool.
All right, cool beans.
So do we have any post-game business we need to do? I don't think there is anything there. I will say that on the boards we can deal with any purchases you guys need to have made for gear on the way out, and say that you've done that during the day.
Plus, we got a barrel of lamp oil.
We got a barrel of lamp oil.
We may not want to hold on to that.
Why?
Then we look like we have the barrel of lamp oil that just got used.
Oh, we're not
up,
going to put
right?
it on the boat.
It's a
just like,
commodity.
hey.
It's worth money.
Well, what I mean is, we have, if Maurice decides that, hey, he thinks it's us that tried to start it, we go, look, they even have one of those barrels too.
No, we have the guy. I mean, I was thinking of
Okay.
like
That works
being
too.
honest with Maurice about what happened.
now
Like,
having-
this dude was paid to burn both our ships. Here he is.
Yeah, well, clearly
And here's
they've had
who
an
paid him,
incident.
hopefully.
Clearly they've had an incident over there as well, so they've actually shot at someone.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that in the confusion we can go find out who paid this guy to do this and maybe get more information than just here's the culprit.
So for next week, the question is, are you doing that immediately, or are you going to go in the morning?
I think the
Which
guy
technically
is probably
only about a couple of hours separated.
Well,
My-
we have some time before the tide goes out, right? Because you said it doesn't
Yeah.
go out till noon.
It was going out at 1300. Yeah.
So we have, I guess we have time. As much as Randel is chomping at the bit to get going, Maurice isn't going to go any faster. So
Plus, he probably
Yeah,
want to know
he's on fire.
Plus, he wants to know who
Exactly.
just tried to sink a ship.
exactly.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we
you don't
have
think
time
that
to
fire
investigate
was on
this.
the ship. More than likely,
Yeah, you
what
said
happened
waterline.
is more than likely what happened is they shot the barrel. Somebody shot the barrel and it caught fire before
Which
it
is
reached the
clearly
ship.
what we should have done, but Article didn't think
Well,
that.
no, because that
think-
could
Well,
catch the
think
both
ship.
that
thought
out.
of that. Okay, so 1 point for everybody on that.
Yay.
And what was it? Oh, right. So I forgot about the sanity stuff last week, and I don't think I need to go back and refer and make sure that. But I don't think anybody did anything that was going to affect that. Definitely not this week. So no changes to anyone's sanity as yet.
I'm picking up boating unpowered.
Actually, no, I take that back. Davino and Rogers will be down 1
Because of our interaction with
because of
the
your interaction.
suicidal priest.
That's
Where do
not
I
something
record
you
that?
see every day.
Did you
I have
actually
a
put
note. I have a note where I just put madness stuff, and then it's
Okay.
stability
Somebody-
points, SP, long-term
Somebody put-
stability points.
somebody put one in their currency? Put their
I did.
Is that a
Yeah.
good place for it?
It's not a terrible place for it, I suppose.
And what did you call it when you put it in yours?
It's sanity points.
I said sanity.
Is it all lowercase? Because it'll make it 2 different items if it's.
No, I have it as
Oh, well, you can look at
sanity,
the
capital S anity.
you can look at the party
Oh,
sheet if
yeah.
you're trying to match
Yeah,
that.
I thought it was stability.
Stability.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
I have it as stability. Yes.
Yeah, stability, all caps. Got it. And it starts at your IQ or your will.
IQ. It was
Okay.
not will.
Yeah, see, if Randall had actually pulled a shift, he could have done the Daredevil stupid and gone diving into the water.
It could have been.
I've clearly hung around you too much.
Yep. I'm rubbing
Oh,
off.
and what is the name of the currency that GURPSes represent, so that I don't just put dollars?
Okay.
Pounds, shillings.
So having
Somebody has shillings on mine.
I hadn't actually got around to dealing with that because people were still dealing with their equipment, their starting equipment. So for now, you can just leave it at GURPS. But once I'm satisfied that we're done with that, because I know at the very least Davino's still dealing with his gun axe.
Okay.
Once we're done
I
with
will-
that, we're gonna convert.
I've got the gun axe sorted. It's just I don't have the rest of the gear like powder horn or rounds or that sort
Right.
of stuff.
Wouldn't it just be better to keep it as GURPSes for bookkeeping purposes?
That's not what we're gonna do.
That's not immersive.
So, just to remind you what I had said a long time ago, after this point, after we convert that, you will not buy the prices in the books will no longer be relevant. We'll be using real
Oh, yeah.
prices with real
I remember that.
currency.
Does that mean cost of living and stuff like that will change?
That will be converted. I don't know if that's even going to come up, because honestly, you're not going to be staying anywhere for an extended period enough to actually do cost of living.
Yeah, and the ship's supplies will be month to month for everybody.
Cool beans.
Nice.
I don't think there's anything else. There's no loot to deal with. Yeah, I think that's everything. So, if you're watching this and you have questions, corrections, suggestions, or general hecklings, feel free to leave a comment here or find us on Discord.
Wait, you mean I can go to the boards and heckle you?
God. Son of a bitch.
The Discord channel is probably the best.
I know you're not. I was waiting for it. Thank you for watching. Olympus out.